Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event.
Oh, yeah!
Are you ready?
And now, coming live from MainEventMadness.com and presented by Spreaker, it's Main Event Madness, your wrestling podcast, your wrestling website. You can call into the show by calling 305-600-4708 or interact with us on Facebook at facebook.com/MainEventMadness. And with that, here are your hosts, Al Merriman and John Curry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday. It's Hump Day. Do not play the audio. Love of God. Woo, Hump Day.
Hump Day! Yeah!
There you go. We got it better. It's live and in person. Fuck the audio tapes. All right, nothing like cursing and dropping F-bombs at the beginning of the show. This is Alfonso Marymount with my co-host, partner in crime, and brother from another mother, John Curry. John, how the hell are you today?
I am fired up, brother. This is the first time in a long time that I haven't watched Raw, and we're talking Raw in about 20 minutes from now, and I have no idea what the hell we're talking about. So this should be interesting. You're going to be the one leading the WWE conversation. So this should be interesting, to say the least.
Well, I will tell you this. You didn't miss out nothing. And, John, if you could lower my volume just a little bit, I sound like I'm beating you up with my my screaming on the audio tape. I freaked me on yourself out. All right, but, yeah, you know what? Monday Night Raw was a snooze fest. And I said it on multiple, social media platforms.
I saw that. And normally with you, when you say that Raw is a snooze fest, I take that with a grain of salt because you are more critical, damn near more critical than Bruce Hart and Evan Ginsberg put together on their worst day.
No, this week...
You are such a pessimist with Raw. But then I read through it and I'm like, oh my God, primetime players are main eventing.
I couldn't, for the life of me, I understand storyline, it made sense. But why wouldn't you stick to Dudley's main eventing Monday Night Raw? I don't know. It was a clusterfuck. I don't know who booked it. I don't care to know.
The Dudleys were in a dark match. They were a dark match. Why would you not use them?
Monday Night Raw that was so fucking amazing a couple weeks back to this shit.
Why would you not use them, though?
I'm sorry?
Why would you not use the Dudleys? You put all this hoopla and all this... pomp and circumstance around the Dudleys making Raw in 10 years.
They did wrestle. They wrestled Los Matadores, I think. I think that was on Monday Night Raw this week.
That's really not helping your case here, any.
I'm just saying. I think they were on that. I don't even remember. That's how bad. I hated Monday Night Raw. But enough of Monday Night Raw. I'm going to tell you this. We had one hell of a show
instead of talking Monday Night Raw, I have 3 different conversations, only one of which truly pertains to Raw. So is that better?
Yeah, well, before we get on to that.
Absolutely. We got to touch on something monumental in the history of Main Event Madness last week. Right here on this very broadcast.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Bruce Hart and, his comments. He was very honest and upfront with us with the stories that he told us about. Not only his experiences at WrestleMania with Bret Hart and the backstage antics with Vince McMahon and more so Triple H, but he came out and, he talked to me personally over the phone, and I asked him if he wanted to talk about it on air, and he gave us what he wanted to, and he told us the whole story about Tyson Kidd. I find it hard to believe that this man will lie just to lie and just to grab attention. He is old school. He has a lot of, he has a lot of feelings towards the WWE, but I was just amazed. A lot of people hate him. I was amazed on the amount of people that, there was a lot of, interaction and reaction to that interview. And
good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, I don't really care. The point is, we had hundreds, if not thousands of people talking about Main Event Madness.
No, yeah, we had thousands of people, but I mean, it's not even about that. I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. It was kind of interesting. The reason I bring it up, I thank Bruce Hart for the interview, just like I thank everybody else. But what I found interesting, and this is why this is newsworthy, is the fact that not only Tyson Kidd, but Nadi, yeah, they responded to an interview, but that interview, the response to it was lackluster. And John, you had the perfect point, and I want you to weigh in on what you felt about their response to Bruce Hart and the interview on Main Event Madness last week. I know you're coughing up some stuff over there.
Yeah, the Neo's fighting back a little bit. No, so Tyson basically commented that the rumor mill over. You know, he claims he hasn't talked to Bruce Hart in a decade. But to me, when I saw his reaction, and first off, Tyson, not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, you know, just going by what we have. Second off, it seemed like a reaction like, fuck, I didn't want that getting out yet. Fuck. And it wasn't so much mad that it came out as much as mad as it came out when it did. But at the same time, I don't know what he's got to be mad about. I mean, it's to Bruce's point last week on the show, he's not a paraplegic. And I don't mean any disrespect towards any paraplegics, but he's not one. So I mean, he should be counting his blessings and thanking the Lord above that at least he could still walk.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, but I think it goes beyond that. I think it goes like, and I don't want to, again, I'm trying to respect all parties here because we did have, go ahead.
I was just going to say also, this is worth mentioning, the door is certainly and most definitely open for Tyson Kidd and or Natty Neidhart to come on the broadcast if they want to air their side of the story and or clear up any misconceptions or anything that Bruce had told us last week on the show. So, if anybody listening to the show can somehow get a hold of them, if they want to come on the show and they want to either, you know, tell their side, or if they want to, like I said, clear the air up or clear up some misconceptions, by all means, most definitely, and we'd be honored to have you guys on the show. So, I don't know.
That's just,
with WWE, I don't know if that's possible.
I feel that it's a sketchy situation, you know, with Bruce Hart. I mean, and then I don't want to get him in the middle. I mean, obviously we kind of are in a weird spot here, but I just think in my gut, in my heart, that this information came out early, and you got to remember, Tyson Kidd and Nadi both still get a paycheck with the WWE logo on it, so they can't come out and say what's really happening. That's why their reactions were what they were.
But I mean,
and they were
you got to put yourself in Tyson and Natty's shoes, though. Also, I mean, would you really care if you're told, you know, if you tell them, hey, my neck's fucked up, I need to go to the hospital, and you're told, yeah, that's on you if you want to go. We're not paying for it. Would you really care? I wouldn't.
When you're feeding your mouths and paying your bills, no matter how much they get paid, they need to use that income.
Do you not see those houses that they have on Total Divas? I'm pretty sure
they got. And how do you think they're able to pay for that?
Daddy?
You could be rich or have $100,000 or $200,000.
Jim Neidhart.
I'm sorry?
Jim Neidhart.
I don't know. Well, I don't like bringing up the 80s wrestlers because they got all fucked.
But that's her father.
I'm sorry?
That's her father.
I know, but what is it? Why are you bringing up Jim Neidhart with the money that they're making now? They need
because the popularity that they got. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just saying there's a reason why if this is what blows my mind. If Natty and Tyson Kidd, if Bruce was lying, why did they not really directly say what was going on? Why couldn't they say, you know what? No, I'm fine and I'm coming back. The way Tyson Kidd responded was, I haven't spoken to Bruce in blah, 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 blah years. Well, if you heard Bruce's comments, Bruce wasn't saying what they told him. He was paraphrasing what his wife was telling him, who spoke to Nani.
Well, he never even said flat out. He talked to Tyson Kidd.
Yeah.
All he said was what he was told.
Yeah, so, and he was just relaying the message to us.
And we were more than happy to oblige to taking the message.
But it's not. I'm just saying that it's just odd. I'm trying to take away, John, about what Bruce Hart said. I'm trying to. I'm trying to break down right now where is Tyson Kidd's career really fucking over, and they didn't say anything that makes me believe that it's not over.
The only thing they really said
that it is going to continue.
The only thing they even really said was that they claimed they don't talk to Bruce. They didn't deny it.
Yeah. So I mean, in that case, you know, we're going to continue on from that. I don't want to piss anybody off. Which I guess it really doesn't matter at this point. But
the point being, we thank Bruce Hart for coming on here and telling us what he did. We hope to have him on again soon, and we probably will. But the point is, if Tyson Kidd and Natalya, Natty Neidhart, whatever, if they want to come on and they want to clear up any misconceptions, we'd be honored to have you.
All right, sounds good. And now let's get into the actual show itself. We have a lot of different products. Can you believe I said products? Different topics to run down. That's what happens when work, my day job, gets in the mix of my night job here. But let's go ahead. We're going to start the rundown.
Al, get your running shoes on. It's time for the rundown.
All right, for you guys that are new, the rundown is 10 minutes, 5 topics. We always do overtime, even though we don't ask for it. So we're going to go ahead and start it off with, where do you want to start? Go ahead, John. Take the heels there.
Well, if you guys visited maineventmadness.com over the last week, you would have saw there was some Bret Hart. Seeing as we're talking about Bruce Hart, we might as well talk about another Hart. Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan drama. Bret was interviewed, and apparently he claims that Hulk Hogan is glad that Roddy Piper's dead.
What are we supposed to say there? I mean, let's say if Hogan was glad that he was dead, and let's say Bret Hart knew that he was glad. What does Bret Hart gain from saying that? You know, there's certain things that just don't.
You don't say it in public.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm not even gonna say what I want to say, but it's like, what was Bret trying to one up Bruce? Like, or did that happen before? I don't even know. I just feel like it's fucking crazy that he would say that in any circumstances. You know, people talk shit about what Bruce Hart said on our show, and I read your fucking comments out there, not only on social media, on all the other websites, talking shit about Bruce Hart. Bruce Hart only said that Tyson's career was in jeopardy. What Bret Hart said, that fucking, I don't care if Hogan said it. At this point, I don't give a shit. You just don't say that. You know, at the end of the day, it takes a little man and a little person to come out and say something about another man wishing or happy that somebody else is dead. I think that's totally fucked up, and I lost a little bit of. I never met Bret Hart, but I just don't like that.
Technically, you've never met Bruce Hart either.
I'm sorry?
Technically, you've never met Bruce Hart either.
I'm just saying that I did not like what he said.
Well, there's nothing really to like. Although he did defend Hogan and say Hogan wasn't racist.
How can you say that shit in the same breath?
It's Bret Hart. Lord only knows. WWE made another international signing. Kana, who was seen on screen at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, has officially signed a developmental contract with, of course you have, Wayne, with WWE to appear on NXT. How do you feel about one of the most iconic women's wrestlers in Japan heading over to NXT?
I mean, you got to be excited for her. I still have my doubts about the Divas division. I know a lot of people think I'm out of my freaking mind.
Well, you are out of your mind, but that's
no. I mean, I didn't read or listen to what Chris Jericho said, but I did see the subject line, and he did say Chris Jericho weighs in on why the Divas Revolution is not working. And I believe in one thing that title says and what all these sites posted. I believe it's not working. I believe it's fucking watered down. I believe they're doing a fucking horrible job. And I think the best part of the Divas Revolution was the fact that Stephanie McMahon introduced the Divas Revolution, because that was the best part. Everybody got excited. And I swear I'm not going to say it's the girls, because they could wrestle their ass off whenever there's a match. I just do not like the booking.
The booking went back to the status quo.
It's
pointless. squabbling, pointless, whining and bitching and moaning and complaining, and 5-second matches a lot of times.
No, they're giving them some more time. The wrestling, I'm not. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not the woman's fault. I just think that these 3-on-3-on-3s, which I know sounds like a porn movie for some of you sickos out there.
Submission sorority, what?
What? What? It was. I'm not even. Wayne, we got to get that picture that I showed you a page. I know that John will like it. Anyways,
Oh, Jesus
I think
Christ.
that if the story's right, when what was it, Paige? What are the girls that Paige is with? Charlotte and
Sasha Banks.
All right, so when they were on Miz TV, apparently I don't know what's real anymore when it comes to these fucking websites, including mine. But when they were on the
Definitely
Miz
including
TV
ours.
like 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, they were supposed to create the heat between the three girls. And apparently, Paige thought it would be a good time to fucking not do that. And they're still besties and all this shit. That's what the girls call them. It's legit besties, guys. Whatever the hell they're saying these days. They have good talent in that division.
I think there's going to be heat.
Minus Alicia Fox, minus the Bella Twins, because they still
Minus
don't know how
Brie
to
Bella.
wrestle.
You have to give Nikki Bella her dues.
Well, yeah, one left. What dues does she deserve? The fact that she
She's-
still can't wrestle?
Okay, you dislike her, right? Congratulations, she's doing her job. She's a heel. You're not supposed to like her.
Oh, you're trying to manipulate.
No. I'm not trying to manipulate anything.
No.
But
I
of
love her.
of those three women, the only one that truly deserves any credit is Nikki Bella. And not because she's fucking Cena, but because of the fact...
Actually, yes. Yes, indeed.
Because if that made any sense, or if that mattered any, Brie would be like a co-Divas champion or something, because she's fucking Brian. But, oh, wow. Wayne actually has met Bret Hart. The point is, Nikki has been a heat magnet for the Divas. Does she not consistently get the most heat? Yes or no? Yes or no?
You know what pisses me off about the way you're speaking to me? That yes, I'm gonna give you a factual, answer, and yes, she's receiving heat, but that does not change the fact that this fucking bitch doesn't know how to wrestle in the ring.
The best thing they could have done for this whole Divas Revolution thing was what Cena supposedly put a stop to, and that was Charlotte beating Nikki on her debut. But I don't think that the whole
I agree. I think that would have been key. If Charlotte would have came in and won at that point, it would have been like, oh shit, this Divas Revolution is actually happening. Now it looks like Monday Night Raw is probably going to be the day where Nikki loses, which I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that at that moment they lost a lot of momentum in that Divas Revolution campaign. Because imagine on Night of Champions, we could have had Nikki versus Charlotte as Charlotte as the women's champion. At that point, I just feel like it lost a lot of footing.
Well, speaking of the women,
before we continue, I'm sorry I'm on this topic so much. It's just blowing my fucking mind.
Oh god, if you say Bruce Hart,
one more time. Listen to me, damn. Listen, what bothers me about the Divas Revolution is that how long are we into the Divas Revolution now?
2 months.
What, 2 months?
No,
about 2 months.
About 6 weeks.
So like 2 months. That's 8 weeks. That's 2 months.
Yeah, because it was the Monday after.
Which pay per view was it?
What the hell's whatever the July pay per view was?
Yeah, whatever.
Battleground or whatever it was.
Was Extreme Rules?
Fucking
Money in the Bank.
Fucking Tuesday in Texas. Halloween Havoc.
World War III. Whatever the fuck it was. What I'm saying is, since that day, I feel like that day just happened because nothing's really happened between then and now. Like, straight up, I think it's been the same repeat, like the same thing. I know they had a Divas beat the clock, which is always stupid in my mind. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I lowered the situation, John. But let's just continue and... And I'll go on to the next
Paige and
topic
Alicia
here.
Fox got into a bar fight, and we weren't invited.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's a damn shame.
They made it on TMZ on Monday after Monday Night Raw. They were at a local bar. Some people next to them were belligerent and started saying they wanted photos. They were really drunk. They got stupid. They ended up throwing some drinks at Paige and
Was it
Alicia.
scripted for Total Divas?
It may have been, because would be the second time that happens. Last time, of course, Alicia Fox was involved again, and she tossed some shit in Naomi's face. And yes, I am a Total Divas fan. I gotta admit it. I totally love Total Divas.
I watch it.
I know. I watch it like with my wife, and if we miss it, I start crying.
This is
Like, I
Al's
need to watch
excuse to watch wrestling. But Jenny, we get to watch Total Divas and see what happens with these bitches afterwards.
You sick bastard. We gotta know what really happens backstage.
Hell yeah.
It's all fucking scripted, but hey.
Hell yeah. Alright, so WWE apparently is going to start background checks, including social media, before signing new talent. After yet another NXT diva evidently had some racially motivated tweets, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't know her name. I know it was posted, and I was supposed to get it up on the site for what's the guy's name? The Greco?
She was a teenager. She wasn't even an adult when she said it. I don't know why.
Because whatever you say in your past comes back and haunts you today. You can't never be stupid, and you can never say stupid remarks. Because I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart. I mean, they should have done that from the get-go. Nahoof is how you pronounce her name.
Nahoof.
Nahoof.
Jack-off. I don't know.
Nahoof?
So WWE to start background checks, including social media before contracts. When I say to WWE, here's my middle finger on that. Next.
Evidently, Bo Dallas is going to get a new gimmick. Will it be him joining the Wyatt family, do you think?
I think he will join the Wyatt family, and here's the twist. You guys are going to love this. He's going to be Sister Abigail. That's right, folks.
Bo, leave!
Bo, leave! That's right, folks. After all this time, he's been Bo. I don't know. No, I don't know if he'll be in the Wyatt family. It just seems like he's going to be more of a heelish guy and stop taking shit, and they're going to give him a little push, which means that he'll be back in NXT in no time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Bo Dallas character never really clicked with me. Like, I saw it and it just screamed jobber.
I think it was more than that, but I think his injury really fucked him up.
It was a gimmick that should have stayed in NXT longer.
Well, then that you could say about Adam Rose, too. I just think that...
Oh, you definitely could say that about Adam Rose.
But there's something about NXT, guys. Like, I still don't fucking understand it, because it's the same company and umbrella. But some shit is going to work in NXT, like having Rhino there and fucking Samoa Joe, and having Kevin Owens come back. Just, I don't know what it is. It baffles me how different NXT is booked. And what's funny is that NXT has this cult-like following, and you would think that writing would bleed into the main roster. I'm not talking about the gimmicks. I'm not talking about the Adam Rose. I'm talking about the actual way the show is booked. NXT and their events are booked so solid, and they have this following. You would think that Vince McMahon would finally say, "Oh shit, this NXT was shit like not 12, 18 months ago, and now look at the fall. We just sold the Parsley Center out pretty much." Like, you would think that they would be able to capitalize and change their way of thinking, but I guess when you're Vince McMahon, just turned 70, fuck it. He's just going to sail the ship to the end, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, we thought when we were in San Jose, and we had the 5,000 or 5,500 people at the university there, and we thought, all right, this is going to be kind of a ceiling for NXT for a little bit, And then next thing you know, we're going to be in the Barclays Center. And I remember talking about it with Wayne not even a week or two before SummerSlam. And Wayne's like, yeah, they didn't sell out. They maybe have 10,000. They're not going to sell out the whole arena. And Wayne's going to give me a comment here momentarily. But, I mean, he did tell me that he didn't think it was going to. But I'm going back to my point out, 5,000 people, that NXT crowd, I cannot say it enough. And I hope to God, Al, if you go to the Rumble weekend still, go to NXT if they have a show. I'm telling you, there is nothing like it. It's just something about the
environment.
About the environment, about the atmosphere, about the crowd, it's just... It almost feels like a time warp to the Attitude Era. Just as passionate and vocal as the crowd is, and you don't get the boring, or the how every crowd thinks they're going to be smartasses and be JBL and all these other frickin' things, and or I mean not be JBL, but chant for JBL and Michael Cole.
It's one of those things that we could sit here and nitpick for the rest of our lives, but we're not going to understand until they make a change at the helm of WWE Monday Night Writing. And what a segue to go into the Rawsome moments of the week, because this was a shitty week of Monday Night Raw. And if you saw my social media rants, WWE Monday Night snooze. It was like the worst fucking episode of Raw I've seen in the recent coming weeks. And if you think I'm full of... Some people think that I'm crazy, but this week's Monday Night Raw was crappy, and it's funny because they were going up against the first week of college football. Next week they got Monday Night Football. You would think they would have pulled something straight out of their ass. And what they did bring something out of their ass, and it was pure shit. Because it was one of the worst... the way it booked Sting and Seth Rollins, I wanted to shoot myself. It was so fucking stupid. But let's get into the
They're handcuffed by the fact that Sting can't wrestle weekly.
Say that again. That you hate that doesn't happen.
I said they're handcuffed by the fact that Sting can't wrestle weekly, to do tag matches or something. That also,
I think he can. He cause remember when he was on am I still here? I just hit something on this thing. I'm still learning how to use this.
Yeah, you're here.
When he was with TNA Wrestling, he would wrestle 5, 6, 7 matches within 3 days, and they were main event caliber. I think WWE's choosing not to because they want him to sell pay-per-views and the WWE Network. That's why he's not being used as much as we want him to be used. Why use a guy like Sting at the end of his career on a Monday Night Raw, which would be great because I don't think we've ever seen Sting wrestle on Monday Night Raw, and I think they should pop his cherry before.
No, because he's only been on 3 or 4 Monday Night Raws.
He hasn't wrestled though.
No, he's never wrestled.
That's what I'm saying. That they need to pop his cherry before he retires and wrestle 1 month on Monday. I'm just saying he's got to get it out of his system. I got to get it out of my system. I got to see this man wrestle with whoever the hell he's going to wrestle.
I'll tell you. Can we go back to last week? I think it was last week, and I don't remember if I said it on the broadcast. What an awkward freaking picture of Sting, Cena, side by side. It's just...
Say that again, I'm so sorry.
I said, what an awkward sight of Sting and Cena side by side.
Oh, yeah, that was probably the highlight of the night, and the low light at the same time. Because Michael Cole decided to say, oh, look, Seth Rollins going to wrestle both of these legends.
They are legends, though.
Fuck. I don't know. It was just weird listening to Michael Cole say that. It's weird
seeing a guy that we've seen for the last 15 years, more or less, give or take a year, in front of our eyes, become a legend. That is weird.
You know what the problem is? That means we're getting old, and
how do you think I felt with... I got my Yankee game on over here. How do you think I feel watching Derek Jeter become one of the top 5 shortstops, if not top 3 shortstops in the history of baseball? And then, he started his career when I was 3 years old, and he retired last year.
That kind of sucks.
But what's even worse, though, is I was 15 years old when I started
Was
watching
that your
Cena.
what?
Huh?
What'd you say? I'm sorry?
When I first started watching Cena wrestle, I was 14, 15 years old. So the fact that from then to now he's a legend and a bona fide Hall of Famer and a 15-time champion, that's like, God damn, I'm getting old.
How old are you again?
Excuse me, 23.
You're a young fuck.
Yep.
Compared to me. I never realized how young you are compared to me.
And
you got your life ahead of you, buddy.
Guess what? We're going to start a new segment on Main Event Madness, Al.
Oldfarts.com? What is it?
My move counter.
Oh my god, you're stealing a page from the fucking Bellas, aren't you?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I'm gonna have to put a fucking counter on the website when John is moving. And by the way, there's a meme going out there. I think it's Mae Young. She's sitting there at 10,000 days as a champion. And there's a meme out there saying, well, what the fuck? You're never going to catch up to me, you stupid bitch.
Official day check as of right now, 143 days.
143.
143. That'll be February 1st. Mark it down, 100%. February 1st. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
You made that sound worse than I did.
That's because I'm a Cuban spick from
I
Hialeah.
can't comment on that. I'm white.
There you go. Official.
All
right, guys. It's Main Event Madness.
Resign from Main Event Madness.
Moments are officially over. No, we haven't even talked about it. Seth and Sheamus feud tease again.
Now, my only question for that is, are they kind of teasing? The Authority turning on Seth?
They're teasing what's the inevitable. And at WrestleMania 32, or whatever the next pay-per-view you want to use, we will see Pedigree versus Pedigree, Seth Rollins versus
Triple H,
Triple H, and that's the next feud. That's going to be big. And that's a feud that does not require the championship around the waist of Seth Rollins. It just does not. Ooh.
But I gotta ask you though, if Sheamus doesn't cash in Money in the Bank on Sting or Seth Rollins on Sunday or next Sunday, which by the way, guys, Main Event Madness Night of Champions pregame show, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, maineventmadness.com. Gonna have another panel just like we did for SummerSlam. So
what's that again? There's a panel doing something on Sunday with who?
Yes, September 20th, I believe. That's the day for Night of Champions, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a Night of Champions pregame show. You guys are going to want to check that out.
You already got the crew together? Got a round table?
Should have it, yes.
Huh.
Featuring and not limited to Joel O'Brien and Aaron Ramadana from Wrestling's Rope Break and Pro Wrestling Powerhouse. Listen, you can't do Sundays. I already asked you. Exactly. Listen to that, folks. For the first time ever, he's speechless. But featuring, but not limited to, Joel O'Brien and Aaron Ramadana from Wrestling's Rope Break.
Wayne Daly.
Pro Wrestling Powerhouse. Wayne Daly of Wrestling-News.net, MainEventMadness.com. Mike Rooker and Matt Brees of Working Progress.
Mark Madison, Joe Dynamite. You never know who's going to show up. Maybe even Evan Ginsberg.
Possibly. I'm trying to keep it to about 5 people.
No. We need about 12, 24 guys.
No. Listen, you have no idea how hard it was to have a panel of 7 people. I'm trying to keep it to me and 5 people. And it's nothing against Mark and it's nothing against Joe.
I did do a cameo on the last SummerSlam special, so you're welcome.
Yeah, don't go out of your way for this one.
which is the one you never know what's going to happen on these special roundtables. That was the day that we officially announced Bruce Hart. So get ready. We're going to have another major announcement, whether it's John Curry moving in 120 days, whether it's me on the show, there's something going to go down. whether we give away free
Wait,
Cuban
what?
sandwiches.
What?
Cuban sandwiches?
No.
No?
An announcement.
Right.
What?
There's always an announcement.
We're gonna have to talk about this off the air because I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
That's a good thing.
Listen, that's an everyday thing because half the time I can't understand your ass. And that's not because he's Cuban, before anybody wants to try to profile me saying that. It's because this guy literally talks in gibberish.
Yeah, racist like Hulk Hogan.
I can assure you that's not the case, and I probably wouldn't call me that on the air because if somebody's going to take that the wrong way.
Oh, dude, if you're like it's, yeah, you know, the way things are now.
Everything's got to be... Everything's got to... Wayne said you should just give away a $20 voucher for Subway.
Shomos. It's not Subways. I gotta teach you guys. They renamed Subways to Shomos. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. Thank you, Jared.
I hate you.
I'm just saying, Jared, you son of a bitch. Alright, guys, so Seth and Sheamus feud teased the Authority turning on Seth. They're teasing something's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be a full turn, but they're teasing it, and I think we all know the inevitable is gonna happen.
Well,
whenever it does happen,
I want to ask your opinion.
Triple H, and they're gonna have a long, lengthy feud.
I want to ask your opinion straight up.
Go.
If they turn on Seth, that theoretically turns him babyface.
No, because Seth is becoming a whiny pain in the ass. But you don't want to hear him.
Okay, so hypothetically,
champion.
Hypothetically, if that turns him babyface, could that lead to a Shield reunion at Survivor Series?
I know you love your hypotheticals, and
that's a legitimate
question. My logic
question.
of wrestling does not allow me to accept the fact that they're heel champion and how well Seth Rollins is doing by himself right now, because he really is by himself. I don't think anytime soon we'll see him turn into a full face.
Wayne,
will it happen? It's wrestling, and with wrestling you never know, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Wayne, comment. I know you're listening to the show, sir.
You know what I realized? I feel bad for everybody. We've been talking a shitload of WWE, and I know a lot of people fucking hate the company. So just stay tuned. We're going to finish with Ross and Moments.
Can you go to 10:30?
I don't know. Just keep on going. And then the Kurt Angle, we're going to talk about TNA, GFW. There's a whole bunch of other topics. So just bear with us with this Raw nonsense, and we'll continue on with the show momentarily. I know that Evan Ginsberg's coming up. All right, next up, did Wayne say anything?
I'm waiting. No, I think he's watching the NXT.
Anyway, NXT's supposed to be really good.
And Wyatt, are you disappointed?
What?
What? He said, what if Seth does triple duty at Night of Champions? What the hell does that mean?
He means he's going to face Dean Ambrose. Triple H. Seth. Wait, say that again?
Yeah.
He's going to face...
He said if he helps Reigns and Ambrose if they help him. That turned them heel, though, because he's facing John Cena and Sting. I mean, the more likely scenario with that is...
I'm going to be so upset about what we're going to talk about now, but we got to... Yeah. Orton and Wyatt feuding.
I hate this. I love the idea of the feud. I hate this for the six-man.
What's going on? Yeah.
Orton does not belong there anywhere. Like, that's throwing him into Super Cena status. If they expect us to believe that a guy who's bigger than Orton, like Roman Reigns, or a guy smaller than Reigns, I should say, after Reigns already got manhandled by Strowman like 3 times, and we're supposed to think that Randy Orton can freaking can do something to Strowman.
It's not even about that. All right, Randy Orton is already an established superstar. The way they brought Strowman in, they could have brought Corbin in, and I hope they still do. I hope they're throwing this off, and they create another star just off rip. I mean, it just makes so much sense to bring in Corbin. Plus, whether he's believable or not, I think he is. He's got that look. He's got that look as a Shield member.
It's Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
Kane?
It's Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
Yeah, if that happens, I might just literally throw whatever device I'm using to watch the WWE Network out my fucking
Listen,
balcony.
you would mark if he comes out to his old theme and the whole...
Kane?
Yes, if he came out to his old theme song...
I finished marking out with Kane about the third time he switched back to the mask.
No,
like,
but if he came back with the old mask, the old theme song, and the old red suit...
And 30 years younger? No, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'll love if Kane came back as the what was it, the dentist? What was his name back in the day?
Isaac Yankem DDS.
Yeah, I'll mark out if he comes back as Isaac Yank. And then I'll be marking out. But if another Kane variation of Kane comes out, just shoot me in the toe.
Listen, I know damn well, as much of an Attitude Era guy as you were, you would love to see Mask Kane circa 1998.
No, I really don't. I don't.
Wayne.
Because we know what Kane is now. It's not... No. Kane is Glenn Jacobs. He's a corporate goon that's too smart for his own good.
It makes sense, though. But the thing is with this, and there were a lot of talks that Kane's career was going to start winding down this year. I hate you, Wayne. He said, number 3, it's obvious. Number 3 is Bo Dallas. Yeah, he can just... Yeah, no. Anyway.
Baron Corbin should be the guy taking that spot.
But to finish my point, if they bring back Kane Mask, he can never be unmasked again. I'm being dead serious, except for the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is the only other excuse I will give them. He can never be unmasked again, and the perfect example could be it could kind of be like when he attacked Taker in 03 or 04, whatever the hell it was, that, he thought Taker was becoming human. He got beat down by Brock and by Seth, maybe he burns himself or something because he thinks he became too human. He wants to become the devil's favorite demon again, so he burns himself and to cover up the...
So if that's the case, I could see him as the old Kane join the Wyatt family.
No!
Dude, I can't even see. I fucking can't stand Kane anymore. There's 3 guys I could do without. I love you guys. Thank you for the memories. Mark Henry, Big Show, Kane. There's a door.
Oh, God. Here we go, Evan Ginsberg.
I'm sorry?
I said, here we go, Evan Ginsberg.
Well, I do. You know what's happening with my age, and I'm getting older, and I've been watching this shit since I was fucking in diapers. Yeah, I think I'm starting to grow some, I don't know what to call it. I'm just fucking over it. We got one more topic before Ginsberg shows up.
Well, we got to take a commercial break before he comes on.
We got to talk about Sting.
Yes. Sting destroyed Seth Rollins' statue.
The worst segments of all time on Monday Night Raw.
Katie Vick begs to differ.
Did you see it?
No.
All right, so you got nothing to say until you see it. What happened?
Katie Vick begs to differ.
25 minutes of bullshit to start Monday Night Raw. 25 fucking minutes. Then we got some shitty ass Divas match. So it was technically 30 fucking minutes. If I would have bought a ticket there, I would have won a refund after the first 15 minutes of watching this shit. Seth Rollins was doing his shit. He started sounding like the Miz after a little bit. But what was exciting and unclimactic was when Sting interrupted Seth Rollins. I don't know, the lights didn't even go off. He just showed up on the screen.
They're trying to make him like a mix of The Undertaker and Brock.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. The lights didn't go out. I mean, Sting always goes black, and they never did. It's just the crows coming in. And then they filmed this shit about a month ago. There was no fucking way they were backstage at this fucking arena. Sting never made an appearance on the live crowd. So, I don't know. It just seems so fucking bad. And then the end of Monday Night Raw, whenever it was, that Sting destroys Seth's fucking statue. The best part of it was when Sting was hanging off the truck and looked like the Joker Sting from TNA. Just laughing like a crazy son of a bitch. Other than that, I mean, I thought it was a waste.
So he brought Joker Sting to WWE?
Well, he was still in the black and white. You guys don't understand how fucking... Did you ever see Joker Sting, like, during TNA's run, John?
Yes, and I thought it was awesome.
I think that was one of the best things, and I wish they would bring it, but they won't. But That's one thing I loved about Sting, that he was always able to recreate his character.
45 years old, the fucker recreates his whole entire persona.
And yeah, I mean, he knows how to stay relevant, and that's great. Now what we need is for him to go back to the blonde spikes and to start all over again.
No. But,
He
all
will
right,
be
guys,
missed.
this is Main Event Madness Radio. We are live.
This
It
guy's
is
going to commercial
September
break.
9th, 2015.
Commercial
Coming up
break.
here, we got Evan Ginsberg coming on the broadcast. Guys, we're going to take a commercial break here. When we get back, we got a lot more news to talk about. Main Event Madness, your wrestling podcast, your wrestling website. We'll be back. Want wrestling news? Want sports news? Want columns, podcasts, shopping, and a place to chat with fans around the world? Then you want MainEventMadness.com. This site has everything from the latest news about all your favorite wrestling companies, including WWE, TNA, ROH, and Global Force Wrestling, as well as news about all the major sports leagues, MLB, NFL, and NBA. Give us a try, and you won't regret it. It's MainEventMadness.com, where the madness runs wild. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Looking for quality wrestling news with an international flair? Looking for results and news from around the world? Look no further than Wrestling-News.net. Wayne Daly and his crew have you covered from top to bottom, from WWE to TNA to the top independent companies from around the world. Check them out, Wrestling-News.net. So you decided to check out Main Event Madness, and now you want to know how you can get the latest news about the show, the hosts, guests, showtimes, and more? Well, the answer's simple. Facebook. Head over to facebook.com/maineventmadness and be a part of the hundreds who have already liked the page and are the first to know everything you could ask about Main Event Madness. Facebook.com/maineventmadness, the official Facebook page for Main Event Madness Radio. Want to write a column, report news, a blog, or simply help out with the website? No problem. We're looking for reporters for sports, wrestling, and columnists. If interested, send an email and or resume to job@maineventmadness.com and join our team today. Main Event Madness is an equal opportunity employer. Please only send serious inquiries. The spam will not be read. From the associate producer of The Wrestler, and in the tradition of Joe Franklin and Ed Sullivan variety talk shows, Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV features an eclectic mix of legendary million-selling musicians, indie artists deserving greater exposure, and colorful pro wrestlers. Co-hosted by Steve Ludwig of Classic Pop Culture Radio, the show airs live every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern at MadhouseTV.com and LegendsTVNYC.com. Martha Wash, Crown Heights Affair, Lanny Poffo, Nicole Bass, and other legends have joined us. You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV. Life is about working. Life is about progress. So why not put them together? Well, we did. Join Matt Brees and Mike Brooker every week for Working Progress, the Fans View podcast. Each week, the guys talk the latest in wrestling and sports and dabble in some fantasy ideas that'll blow your mind. It's the Working Progress every week only on MainEventMadness.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just realized you told us we're back on. You gotta love it as I'm reading our show here. All right, guys, so we're back. This is Alfonso Merrimon, John Curry, Main Event Madness podcast, and we got our partner in crime, another partner in crime with Evan Ginsberg. Evan, how are you, sir?
I'm recovering from earlier in the show when the sound was so bad my ears were bleeding. But I'm good now, guys. I'm good.
But now you get to hear us crystal clear.
But you know what? At least it wasn't an hour of issues. John figured it out. He's learning all the tricks to the trade from switching from old Windows to Windows 10, which apparently Windows 10 just likes to suck the life out of everybody.
I could say a lot of things about Windows 10, and not one of them is good.
I'm still trying to figure out 8, so you guys are doing better than me.
I wish I still had 8.
I'm still on 8. I hate it. Windows 8, I just upgraded mine to Windows 10 too, but Windows 8 is pretty crappy. Windows 10 is a free upgrade.
I want to downgrade mine to Windows 1, because that's about the level the level of computer
Get the old AOL
mastery I have.
Get the old
What's that?
AOL dialing in sound effect.
Oh, the AOL.
That's right.
That used to be a great thing. AOL was great. I used to love when it said "You've got mail." It was just like that movie.
You know, when you get that little beep that the emails are coming in, it's like Pavlov's dogs. Like no matter what you do, you're like tempted to go check the email. It's like,
Oh yeah, exactly how it is.
yeah, they have us trained.
They have us trained. The text messages, the phone calls, it's just crazy.
The best sound you would hear back with AOL is you'd be sitting there hoping that you can actually connect to the dial-up and then go do something and come back and welcome. You've got mail.
I used to love it though because when I had that, it used to mean I got some girlfriends, hitting me up. That's how it was back in the day, at least for me. I know it shows my age. I
was 11.
That's what I used to do back in the day.
I was 11.
I was 111.
You're 100. Yeah. Just speaking of technology, I put a little. I know before we get into wrestling, sometimes we talk so much wrestling, it just blows my mind. But I put up on Facebook, if you guys are following me, so search me, Alfonso M. Marimon. Just about how it used to be back, just in the 70s and the 80s and even early 90s for some of you guys, where you would eat your dinners with your family and your friends. This is actually 1984.
I saw that.
And now in 2014, they even have a dog there, and everybody's on a fucking iPad, a phone, or a tablet, and it just what I love about it is what Albert Einstein said, and I feel his words every time. I'm looking at the picture now. He said, "I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction," and I tell that to my wife all the time. It's one of those things that I love technology, but you just can't be around it all the time because that's not a good thing. So I don't know. Technology is great, but sometimes you just gotta know that, hey, I got a mom, a dad, a wife, a dog. Just life is out there. Stop being on those things 24 hours a day,
That is your age showing through. I mean, I agree with you, but just the way you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, that's your age coming through.
My age, but it's the truth.
It is the truth.
When I was a kid, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have tablets. We didn't have iPhones. We had a stick. We played with a stick.
Yeah.
It was like this. I was like one notch above the Stone Age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. Even with me, Evan. I mean, I grew up where I would play ball in the streets, and I would have the same. I would actually get a stick and a rock and would play baseball. Just different things, and we had our own little clubhouse, and all this stuff. I never needed a phone. I never needed, you ride your bikes, and everybody would meet up at somebody's house and try to find each other. You barely would. I would never even call people, and that was just because the way I was brought up. I still had an older neighborhood, which was great. I loved it. But now you go back to my old neighborhood, and it's the summer, and you have there's no kids out there playing anymore. There's nobody doing. It sucks. I think
the last year or two, I've seen more kids outside. I mean, a lot of kids grew up in my neighborhood. It's more older people now, but I've seen more around my town. More outside, more riding their bikes, doing stuff. But Al, do you want to really feel our age? And yes, I'm including myself in this. All the kids now, they bitch and moan if they don't get 10 gigs of internet. When we were their age, we didn't even get free long distance. You still had to collect calls.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
I always find it amusing when guys who are like much younger than me talk about how old they are. I was born in the 1950s.
Evan didn't even have cable.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We had phone cables. That's about.
They had cans and string. They had cans and string going from window to window.
That's awesome.
My mother, they were excited when the refrigerator came the first time. They used to have ice boxes back in the 30s.
They barely had air conditioning.
No, seriously, they used to sleep out on the fire escape or on the roof.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Absolutely. They didn't have air conditioning back in the Great Depression in the 30s. I'm going to tell you guys something actually very interesting, and we'll get as far away from wrestling as possible so you can lose your entire audience. Over the past 150 or so years, the technological advances are more than the previous 1,000 years. Think about it. Think about what's come in the past 150 years. Cars, planes, the internet, cell phones, etc., so on. It was 1,000 years before that, like nothing really happened. You didn't have indoor plumbing.
It's amazing to me. And what's funny, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. They say it's because of the UFOs, and I don't know what to believe. But I have looked into that and read it, and it does amaze me how much, how far technology has advanced, since it's in the past just like you said, the past 150 years. It's crazy. Where are we going to be the next 50?
If there are actually UFOs out there, if they watch like one day of TV and turn on like the Kardashians and the news with all the wars going on, even WWE, they would flee in terror. They would just go, we want nothing to do with this planet. I'll tell you another thing. If aliens came down and they saw a guy walking the dog, think about it. The guy's walking the dog takes a dump, the guy picks it up, the guy pats the dog on the head and goes, good boy, good boy. The aliens think the dog is the leader and the guy is the servant.
It's crazy. Yeah, and I see that. It's just crazy. And it's true, because you see even my cousin, I see her walking her dog, and she's the one picking up the dog shit.
Right.
It's just
the alien assumes the dog is the higher life form.
Yeah, I agree with that theory 100%.
All right, Evan, I've been instructed to ask you from our quote unquote producer. He's not really a producer, but close enough to be our producer.
Wayne.
He wants to know if you remember the Icemen. The men that used to go from house to house with the ice?
No, but I remember milkmen. They used to have diaper delivery service before Pampers. The people would come and pick up your kids, disgusting diapers, and clean it and bring it back. Yeah,
they had the cloth.
That's an awesome service. I want that.
Well, think about all the money you'd save on Pampers.
I just spent the other day about $60 on 2 boxes.
Or just don't have kids.
And think about what Pampers do.
Kids. That's a good thing.
Think about what Pampers do to the environment. Where's all that plastic go?
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, Evan.
All right. Speaking of soiled, no,
let's talk WWE and TNA.
Speaking of bad for the environment,
it's very bad, very toxic situation we have down in Orlando, Florida, wherever they're at now. TNA Wrestling, and it's so toxic that one of the best performers might be leaving, and somebody has a toxic mouth might be returning. So let's start with the person leaving, which is Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle announced on a recent interview, and I'm sorry that I don't know the source of the interview. That's bad on my end, but he did announce that he will not sign and re-sign with TNA when his contract's over in January. You remember last year he signed a 1-year contract. He was hoping to return to the WWE, which a lot of us hoped that he would, but he not only did he say he's not signing or re-signing with TNA, but he says he's going to take a break from wrestling, period.
So he's going to WWE.
For TNA, Evan, I mean, what are your thoughts on Kurt Angle?
Well, clearly they decided to go with youth, with EC3, and, he's no dummy. He knows that, his day has passed there in a sense. Best case scenario, he'd be the number 1 and number 2 contender. So, why not see what your options are? There's no reason he couldn't do like the Young Bucks or AJ Styles and wrestle for New Japan, wrestle for ROH, wrestle for the top indies, and make a very good living with a lighter schedule. Although TNA's had so few house shows, I don't know if you can get much lighter than that. But
take 9 months worth of tape.
I think it's a good move for him. He's not a kid. He's been banged up. He's had severe injuries, and and enjoy it. Like Mysterio. Mysterio's making good money out in the Indies.
Oh, yeah, and you see him popping up everywhere. Mysterio has a lot of great matches in the indie scene right now. If you guys,
he's not charging a couple pennies to do it. He's getting some decent money.
He's getting paid for his appearances. I think Kurt Angle could do the same thing, Evan. And
Exactly.
do you think that this obviously opens the door of him returning to the WWE? I mean, I for one wouldn't mind seeing it. I mean, do you think that's something if you were a betting man, do you see him in WWE first or in the Independents?
I say independence. I think he'd be ideal for New Japan because he has so much credibility.
Oh, yeah.
And the ROH, of course, the fans would love him because he's a pure wrestler. And, the guy is one of the legit guys out there. He went from amateur champion to pro, and he's had a tremendous career, and it's not over. He's just, slowing down. He's in his 40s, and I say when somebody has paid their dues like he has and fought through tremendous, painful injuries and the politics of wrestling, let him make his money, let him have a lighter schedule, let him enjoy his family. They shouldn't all just, drag on and on till they drop, which is often the case in that business. And I have nothing but respect for Kurt Angle and, wish him nothing but the best. He's the opposite of some of these guys who could care less and, anyway, I'll stick to the positive. God bless them. Good luck. Go out on top. TNA's a sinking ship, it seems.
Before we move on,
go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say before we move on, it was Mark Madden on 105.9X or the X.
All right, there you go. I did want to source it for sure. So he did reveal that information, which is big for TNA. Definitely a sinking ship. All these guys are leaving. There's news on which we're going to talk about later about another 2 possible departures. But before we continue. I mean, I did say there's somebody else that might be returning, and he does have a foul mouth according to recent reports, which I could care less about. But a lot of people do apparently. But Hulk Hogan is said to possibly be returning, just because they have a huge teaser going out that somebody big with
from their past.
How did they sell it on?
Somebody major from their past is going to return.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it could be anybody because everybody's been through that company. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mick Foley, Hogan, or anybody else. But if there's anybody that would make sense right now, maybe it is Hogan. I know that he is free to go wherever he wants, just the way that he I think he's fine to go wherever he wants. But, I mean, at this point, I really don't care, to be honest. I mean, Evan, you got any thoughts on Hogan possibly returning to the sinking ship?
The rumor was that he wasn't, that he had asked too much money, but, you never know on the internet what's a rumor and what's reality.
That's the problem.
It seems that they've been watching their money. I mean, they cut out the house shows for the most part.
Because they have no money.
I don't see them paying Hogan a fortune at the. He's in his 60s. He's very limited what he can and can't do. So maybe they'll bring in some football player who can't wrestle. They always come up with something.
Hey, bring back Pac-Man Jones.
Bring back Adam Pac-Man Jones. What?
Exactly. Yeah, they always bring in somebody's going to save the company. Only they don't. The thing I've always said about TNA is next to maybe WWE and maybe New Japan at this point, there's very, very few promotions that have that great a talent base, and to waste it week in and week out, with bad comedy and bad skits and stupid angles and matches that the announcers don't even understand what's going on. And, just what these guys wrestle. You have some of the finest, the American Wolves. How great are these guys? You have some of the best wrestlers in the world, and, just wasted week after week.
Let me tell you, I met both of them, and we talked a little bit down in Miami when they just signed with the company, and they were so excited. They seemed like they were excited to be there. I wish I could talk to them again and just say, hey, like from then to now at lockdown, I think it was 2 years now. I mean, did you expect it to be like how it is? Because at that time, the company had a lot more buzz to it, and there was a lot more excitement, a lot more things happening, and it's just it's a shame because they do. That's they have so much talent, and it would be great to see them, be able to showcase their talent a bit more on within that company and elsewhere too. So it is a shame that TNA writing. I'll never, to this day, it's obviously I don't work backstage and you don't and John doesn't, but I would never understand the fact how they had so much momentum and so much great talent go through that company, and for it to seem like it's about to just not exist anymore, especially in the American market, that blows my mind. It's a shame that they couldn't put it together at the end of the day,
They never had the courage of their convictions. What they always should have done was be something totally different from WWE. Emphasize, the flyers, the lighter guys, the X Division. The X Division. That was the key right there. It's like they had it in the palm of their hand.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The more desperate they got, any guy that left WWE, they grabbed them. Oh my God, we got so and so, and it always came off as a second-rate WWE. Later on, in the beginning, it had this great potential, and it was something different, dynamic, and you had the luchadors and the Japanese guys, and and it's a shame. It really is a shame. You see, I hear so much. Oh, he's an old guy living in the past. No, the reason I say things like this is you're frustrated because you love wrestling, and it's almost criminal how they waste the talent. I mean,
I remember seeing some of those X Division matches, and not only that, they even had a pretty solid, the main event roster that were doing the thing, but that X Division was so special, and I feel when they challenged the WWE on Monday night it seems like it was one night, but I think it was about 2 months.
That was awesome. Really, the first Monday was awesome.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they changed their product so much to compete with the WWE that they didn't stick to their roots that worked them to get to where they're at to be able to be on Monday night. They changed so much to compete with the company that they didn't stick to what worked and what got them so popular. They were pulling in 2.2s and 2.5s, and then they started veering from that because they wanted to compete with them instead of focus on what made them get there in the first place. And I think that's where they really screwed up.
You want to know something? In today's market, 2015, what's the hottest thing going? MMA, UFC. Even in boxing, Floyd Mayweather is the biggest deal, and he's a little guy. Okay?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Klitschko. The heavyweights are horrendous. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So here you have guys like Low-Key and Homicide that have this sort of wrestling and, martial arts hybrid kind of style. They would have been perfect to revolve a promotion around instead of, this broken down ex-WWE guy is available now, let's grab him and do bad comedy and, do a second-rate WWE.
I will say,
they did not have the courage of their convictions.
I'll say,
Go ahead, John.
3 guys that TNA signed from WWE made sense. Christian, because he'd never really gotten a main event push in WWE, so nobody knew if he could
awesome.
hang.
You're right.
He was great. 10 years ago, he was fantastic. Kurt Angle.
Absolutely.
Why not? And Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, those were
Jeff Hardy was white hot coming out of WWE in 09 and 2010. And he had all these rumors that he was coming back to WWE, and he rode that into having a little bit of momentum into TNA. But it's funny. And Al, I don't know if you remember, were you guys excited for the Impact Raw head-to-head back on FOW?
I was definitely. As a wrestling fan, you wanted to see it because competition brings out the best, and there
What
was
did you
that
and
buzz
Dunphy watch?
of
Do you
that
remember?
starting again, the Monday Night Wars.
Do you remember if what you and Dunphy watched? If you guys watched more Impact or Raw?
I literally would go back and forth those couple
me
weeks.
too. Me too.
I was
One
going
thing-
back and forth.
As a guy that only came back to wrestling in 06, so I never really got to see it the first time, I was kind of glued to Impact a little bit more because Jeff Hardy was there, and then Anderson showed up, I think.
Well,
and,
especially
and
when
then
you
the
didn't know
NWO.
because they were live and there was a lot of talent out there, so there was more buzz to see what was going to happen with Impact. So yeah, there was a lot more people wanting to see what was going to happen there.
I wish I had two TVs though, because at the same time as the NWO, you had Bret Hart on WWE TV for the first time in 18 years.
But you know what? It's one of those things. Like as a fan right now, it sucks talking about because you would want today to be talking about the fact that TNA and WWE Raw versus Impact it's been strong for 3-4 years. The ratings are killer, and it's just fucking amazing. That's what bothers me about having to talk so negative about what happened with TNA. I will never understand anything. I will never understand the mismanagement of that company.
Well, let me
I don't
take it
care if
one
they put it in a
step further.
documentary. Yeah, go ahead.
I went to 2 live TNA shows, and I was so incredibly disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
You would have guys like Angle and Austin Aries, 2 of the best wrestlers on the planet. 8-minute matches, okay? 8 minutes, totally anticlimactic. Then they would have, no exaggeration, 45-minute intermissions while they're hawking merchandise, and 200 fans with their VIP packages are backstage, and it came off as so like indie level, amateurish, to treat a show like that, where you just walked out going, that was not worth going to. That, their house shows was not as good as Ring of Honor shows, and Ring of Honor was never considered, as big a deal as TNA at its peak, and very disappointing.
What's funny, I went to the Lockdown pay-per-view, and it had the same strange feeling where, obviously it was a live show and they were on pay-per-view, but it was like they were pushing the crowd and
didn't they tell you guys what to cheer?
It was not. I enjoyed it because I'm a wrestling fan. I loved seeing the guys, Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley. I had a great experience. David here. I enjoyed it just because I was happy to see the guys out there. But it was strange. They had the promo guy selling merchandise over every moment they had. That's what they did. It was just strange.
The referees were hawking merchandise. And, it was
yes,
ridiculous.
they did at the event that I went to at the meet and greet. They were the referees. That was a part of their job, which was so strange to me.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, what about letting these guys wrestle? They just had an 8-minute match.
It's unbelievable.
And the ringside tickets are not cheap at these things. It's like you still want to put on a great show and make people want to come back.
And then if you do put on a great show, they will want to buy your merchandise. You know what I mean? That's how I've always seen it. If you put on a great show, they're going to go buy the merchandise. They know the stands are there. Put on a great match. It's like, just like if you go to a Jets game, Miami Heat game, the Dolphins. When the Dolphins are crap, they don't want to buy the merchandise. When they start doing good, they buy the merchandise. Same logic behind wrestling. You do some good stuff. You're selling. The only way you sell the product is by your performances on the stage. So it's not their fault. It's just the fault of how the management treated their company, and that's why they're about to die, at least in the American market. All right, so I know we got some Lana injured talk. I don't even know what's going on with this. John, John, are you alive?
Yes, I'm alive. I was just letting you guys talk. You guys were having a good banter there.
There you go. I'm sorry.
No, I more or less just wanted to get your opinion on this. Probably could have thrown it in the rundown, but Lana injured and broke her wrist. Do you think they scrapped the Ziggler storyline?
For the love of God, I hope so, because it's been the same I could watch Monday Night Raw for the past 4 weeks, and it literally seems like it's like on DVR. Like if I'm rewinding the same segment over and watching it again, it doesn't progress. It doesn't stop. It doesn't start. It doesn't. There's no. I hope it does end it. Will it? I don't know because they keep on. I think Rusev has a match with Ziggler at the next pay-per-view. I don't know if they announced it already or whatever the case is. But
So here's my question. Okay, you're watching this quote unquote storyline for months now. Does anybody actually care? Do you care if Rusev and Ziggler wrestle? Do you care if one guy beats the other guy?
I don't. I really don't. I want to. Like, I want it to mean something, but it means nothing.
Yeah. Think about in the past 10 years how many times you've actually cared. Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. You got like the two baddest guys, on the planet fighting each other. People cared, okay? That's when an angle works, when you say, I would pay to see this. I want to see this. I want to see what happens. I want to see who wins. I don't care if I never see Lana again,
I agree, and that's exactly, if Lana fell off the face of the planet, I'm sure 85% of the WWE universe would forget about her within a month.
I hate to tell you, I wouldn't particularly care if I ever saw Rusev or Ziggler again.
I agree. I mean, and I know John, I know you love Ziggler, don't you?
I'm a big
Ziggler fan.
I'm a big Ziggler fan.
He's a Ziggy fan, man.
Ziggler is tremendously talented, but he's just missing that, super charisma. He has every move in the book, and he sells like crazy, and he's entertaining, and he's colorful, and I enjoy him. But, he does not have the charisma of, let's say, a Nakamura.
He needs to turn heel. Ziggler as a babyface for the last 2 years has been a failed experiment.
I'm going to tell you that like Evan said, he's great. He's in great shape. He's a great wrestler. And all that, but there's something there that is missing. And John, if God forbid, or whatever, Ziggler's contract, I'm not going to go the injury route because I sound like an asshole. But if Ziggler's contract ends within the next month and he does not
re-signed, buddy.
I'm just giving you a hypothetical, like you like to throw at me, John. Okay. If he does not re-sign with the company, how much is the WWE universe going to miss him? Like, really, is it going to be, oh, my God, what am I going to do with my life? He's gone. No,
I think more people would miss him than you think they would. Because of the fact, and it's more of the internet fans, because of the fact that Punk is gone, because of the fact that Bryan's gone, because of the fact that Ziggler would be gone, a lot of fans would be mad. Truthfully.
I totally, I could... if you're talking about what they call the internet wrestling community,
there were three favorites that they had. Ziggler, Punk, and Bryan.
I don't think the WWE would miss him as much as you would think. CM Punk. At this point, CM Punk was missed for a while by the WWE universe.
You can't tell me that they still couldn't use CM Punk right now.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they've moved on, and when you're watching Monday Night Raw, you don't think about him anymore.
For having such a shitty Raw, just think about how much better it would be if you had Bryan and Punk put in there.
I will never know because they're not there.
You gave me a hypothetical. Evan, how much better would Raw have been this past Monday if CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were on it? Hypothetically.
I went to see Joe Louis Walker, a great blues player. I've purposely missed Raw 3 weeks in a row, but look, you have Cesaro, you have Owens, you have some great wrestlers. Again, who generally are wasted, but, even Seth Rollins, if they didn't have screwjob finishes every single time he was out there, the guy's a tremendous wrestler. They have a great talent base. The fans hate Roman Reigns, but the guy's not a bad wrestler. Ambrose is always entertaining. They really need to just start leaving them alone. Have a clean finish more often. And, and what happens with a guy like Ziggler, and it's their own fault, it's almost like you're banished to mid-card hell, cause really, because you've been so badly promoted, you've lost so many times, you've been pinned on TV so many times that your reputation has been diminished. As great as Cesaro is, who I enjoy more than pretty much anybody on that roster, the guy's lost 200 times on TV. It's going to be very hard to turn him into a main event guy because they've hurt him. And
I agree with that sentiment to where the fact that the way they're booked, it might not be Ziggler's fault. It might not be Cesaro's fault. It might not be Kevin Owens' fault.
Those three guys have come out every single match and give 110%. It's not their fault. It's the booker.
It's the book. I totally agree. I think Ziggler's at that point where, well, put it this way, Ziggler after this strange, because I think I hate it. I hate the story they're telling with Rusev and Lana and Summer Rae. After they come out of that, where are they going to stick him? Like, he's not a main event guy, even though he gets some loud, some great responses. Like, I just don't know where they would stick him.
You want to know something as crazy as this may sound? WWE has a network, and they're always desperately trying to, turn these guys into movie stars and TV stars, and inevitably it really doesn't work, except for The Rock, of course. And, what I would do with those four? I would do a scripted series. You do it like romance and, breakups. And to do a soap opera or something. I mean, they certainly have the money. They have an entire network. They have a film division. That's what I would do. Again, have the courage of your convictions. If you're doing a bad romance on a wrestling show, why not turn it into a bad soap opera? Go all the way.
Well, let me ask you guys. You mentioned WWE's film division, and you mentioned The Rock. Is anybody else the least bit surprised that Vince hasn't tried to lure Rock in for a WWE Films movie? Well, I know that's far beneath him, but with the money now that Vince is back being a billionaire, you can't tell me that they couldn't try to lure Rock in. Especially, they could have thrown in as a provision. All right, we'll give you the World Heavyweight Championship, but can you do a movie for us?
Maybe he could give them, Lana and Summer Rae.
There you go. Hey,
I'm joking. I know
but they already gave him Ava Marie according to the San Andreas. I still don't understand why Ava Marie was at The Rock's opening of San Andreas. That's something that blew my mind. I know they got the same manager, but that was kind of weird. So they might as well give him
The Rock makes $100 million, major studio films.
Yes.
WWE does these low-budget films, the majority of which are horrible. You know the one I liked? They did a serious drama, I forget the name of it, with Ed Harris, and the heel was Randy Orton. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes. That
wasn't 12 rounds. No,
I can't think of the name of it.
That's Who I Am, or That's What I...
Yes, that's what it was.
That's what I see, or That's Who I Am.
Yeah, another one that actually was decent, and it didn't have Cena in the main role of it, was Legendary, where his brother was becoming a high school wrestler or something.
Was that the one with Big Show? Are you kidding me?
No, that was the one with Danny Glover, and Cena was the ex-criminal or the ex-convict or something.
All I gotta say, the one movie that I really liked was the movie The Wrestler. I know Evan Gesberg, you put a lot
wipe your nose off a little bit.
I had to do a sheep pop for you. I pulled a Mick Foley on you, but man, I watch that thing like once a year just because I don't know, I love it. I'm sorry, I had to put you out there.
I could go to my grave saying I acted with an Academy Award nominee.
There you go.
There you go.
Golden Globe winner.
You're gonna have to put it on your tombstone. All right, I'm just saying.
We improv'd it.
I think that's one of the. As a wrestling fan, I know there's a lot of people that may have not seen it yet, but that movie, it's just. It's not because I've talked about it a million times. I really do like that movie.
You want to know something to Aronofsky's credit? We went to indie wrestling shows every weekend for 6 or 7 months before we shot that film. He wanted to do it right. He really wanted to capture
That's what I love. That's awesome. That's why it came off as so well. You know, I mean, that type of dedication, that's pretty cool.
I brought ROH in. I brought Ron Killings in. I brought Necro Butcher in. Yeah, I mean, he wanted it authentic, and you got to give him credit. He pulled it off because he was just a casual, Hogan, Savage, Warrior, 80s wrestling fan. He really wasn't, a fanatical fan like us, and so yeah.
I mean, well, you know what? Speaking of, and this is what I love about doing this show sometimes. Do you think that story stands true a lot today? Like, just like with the character Mickey, Rourke, do you think that stands true a lot today with a lot of these guys that are still out there busting their ass and doing the drugs and just doing all that? I mean, is that still reality?
Think about how many wrestlers end up dead, broke, or broken. How many of these guys end up in wheelchairs? How many of these guys end up with nothing? There's no pension. There's no 401k. There's no health insurance. I mean, I think that movie, not because I was one of the producers, but because, it's real. It's real. I mean, unfortunately, it's a cruel business. So is boxing. And I think what you're going to find with the MMA guys, you're getting kicked in the head by black belts, okay? This cannot be healthy for the human brain, but the sport is so new that you haven't seen the repercussions yet.
So those stories are going to come out eventually.
20 years from now when Chuck
I don't want a black belt punching and kicking me in the head, so, I mean, come on.
20 years from now when Chuck Liddell's an old man, we'll find out.
Say that again, I'm sorry,
I said
John?
20 years from now when Chuck Liddell's an old man, we'll find out.
I mean, cut that. It might even be sooner. And it's true. What's funny is that it comes to light, with the NFL, with the I can't even say it right now.
Concussions.
Thank you, sir. And they have a shitload of protective gear. The WWE, people think, people know it's a story, so they didn't realize how real it is. But a lot of people deal with the same issues. What's funny is that with the MMA, nothing's come out on that aspect, which blows my mind.
It's relatively new.
Yeah.
You haven't had the time for it to take its toll yet.
But what about boxing? I mean, boxing should have the same issues. I mean, look at freaking Muhammad Ali. That's, I know he's got Parkinson's. I don't know if that has to do with his career, but I think it had to had some effect to where he
certainly didn't help.
Yeah.
Do you know what a knockout is? A knockout is a brief concussion. Your brain is shutting down for several seconds, maybe several minutes, depending. And this is not healthy for the human brain. And in wrestling, these guys have had multiple concussions. And I'll take it a step further. Some of my best friends are pro wrestlers, and they say to me, quote, "I am always in pain, always in pain." So inevitably, you have the guys with the pain pill addictions, the painkiller addictions, and by not having an off season, as we discussed on previous shows, they don't have time to heal. And a guy who's in his 20s is going to do these insane high spots and everything, and they're not thinking, what am I going to feel like at 45 on a rainy day when the arthritis kicks in? Okay, you're not thinking that when you're young. It's so. So to make it's a long-winded way of saying yes. I think the movie was authentic because, with rare exceptions, the John Cena's making millions of dollars are the exceptions. These guys
look at a guy like Ric Flair.
They're primetime TV stars. These guys aren't making great money for the most part.
Look at Ric Flair. I mean, it doesn't help that he's been divorced like 756 times. But, I mean, I remember a lot of reports over the last few years. And now, I mean, you, especially when you were with FOW, you would know. how many times there were reports like Ric Flair bankruptcy, Ric Flair broke, Ric
Well,
Flair.
Flair made and spent a lot of money. That's
he's
a little
known
different.
as a spender. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these guys never made the money. You know, when a Kamara tells me personally that he wrestled Hogan in a sold-out arena and got $800, it's a little ridiculous. $800 in a 15,000-seat arena. So please don't say they all pissed it away, because a lot of them never made it in the first place.
They never made enough to piss it away because they had to pay the bill. It's just, I don't know. I guess since Evan's been on the show more and more, it's just opening my eyes. Like, I want to tell the story so much more and get people to open up their eyes that it's not only about the WWE. Like a guy like Kevin Owens, yeah, he got there, but there's a lot of other guys like a Kevin Owens, a Cesaro, that are busting their ass, and they don't know how. It's a big struggle, and it just blows my mind about the 401ks and no pensions, and you see guys.
You want to know something?
It just fucking blows my mind. It blows my mind.
You have, let's say, sports and arts.
Okay.
Arts. Okay. I would guesstimate that out of 100 people, 5, maybe 5, are going to quote unquote make it. Really make it. 95 out of 100 are not. Then then you might have 5 more who have some degree of success. I'm talking singer, actor, writer, dancer, wrestler, boxer, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you're not going to be Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Randy Orton. You're not going to make big money and sell out arenas, and it's just not going to happen. And the same thing, filmmakers and singers and everything else. It's just the cream rises to the top, and sometimes it's the people who network the best, and sometimes it's the casting couch, and sometimes you're in the right place in the right time, and you're just lucky, But for the most part, the problem with wrestling is just sacrificing your body. You're going to hurt yourself to some degree, to do this, and the chances are you're not going to get rich doing it.
And it does go through all platforms. I mean, hip-hop, music, everything, And I hate when people say, oh, you didn't work hard enough, because a lot of them do work hard, and they try to get their name out there. But it is sometimes who you know. And one guy, I mean, independent music, if you listen to it, there's people that nobody know of that put out some great music that's better than what's on the radio.
I know
for some reason,
tons of indie artists.
Hundreds. I'm sure hundreds of them. Even on my end, I've loved hip-hop since I was a kid, and I've expanded, and I love all types of other music. And it just goes to show you, they could bust their ass as much as John Cena is, but sometimes it's the networking, like you said, and networking is so big. And then it's just the time, just where you're at that moment in time, and it works out. That's something, there's no scientific formula to say that, hey, you're going to be a success. And what I mean by that is, like, with those 95 of the 100, I wish there was a way to get to half of them to say, hey, if this doesn't work out, be prepared. And I know you told me and John, hey, try to do your 401ks, set yourself up financially now that you're young, because it's important. And a lot of people in America, not just because they're artists, just like me, I'm never going to be an artist. I'm not a guy that's going to make.
You are an artist. You're a radio host.
Yeah,
radio is an art.
Yeah, it's an art, but I'm never going to. I don't know. I'm never going to say. I'm just saying, I'm not going to make John Cena money. Like, you got to be smart with it, because you never know what's going to happen. If you have the opportunity to invest your money and learn at a young age, I think it's important.
Let me just. Go ahead. It's not even an opportunity to invest your money. It's the discipline to invest your money. Every single person, regardless of how much they're making, one, get rid of all the crap you don't need. There's cable channels you're not watching. There's there's gadgets you're not using. There's junk food you don't need to be eating. Cut your budget and take 15% of whatever you make, save it and invest it. It doesn't matter how little, how much. 15% when you're young. It's discipline. Everybody's making something. Okay,
Yes.
so instead of making your cable company richer, make you richer. In fact, get rid of your cable if you need to, and get Netflix, and take that money you're saving, and invest it. Because if you're in your 20s and you invest smart, by the time you retire, you're going to be wealthy. And you're going to thank Uncle Evan, who will either be dead or 105 by then. Anyway.
No, but and I agree, and I've been learning, a lot lately. I mean, I'm 30, but this is one of the things that blows my mind, is that as an American, if you live in America, they teach you to say, hey, money, that money is important, but they don't teach you how to make yourself rich. They don't teach you how to save your money or invest. They don't have
My
those
wife
courses
is Korean. My wife's Korean. In Asian cultures, they teach you to save. In American culture, they teach you to spend.
Yes,
go down to the mall. Sale. Go spend more. Buy more.
They advertise everything.
And we were talking earlier about technology. When I was a kid, we had a TV for 18 years. 18 years. I'm sitting there with the remote control one day, and I'm like, I couldn't even fathom why it wasn't working. The thing had finally broke after 18 years. Okay? And today you have planned obsolescence where everything's made like crap. I shouldn't say everything, but most things. And they want it to break in 3 or 4 years, so you have to go out and buy another one. So
that's why there's a new iPhone that was just released today. When they just released the 6, now it's a Plus, and I don't even know what the hell they're calling it. But that's how it is. Every 6-8 months, they release new technology, even though you got the old one, and the old one's only 6 months old. But I mean, yeah, it blows my mind, and it's one of those things that the reason I've been talking about it is you see guys like Jim Neidhart and Kamala and there's a bunch of guys, Ric Flair, you mentioned him earlier, John, that they didn't know how to do it because they were never taught. And now, as a dad, I got to learn how to teach my kids how to save that money.
Well, here's the first rule. The first rule is don't spend more than you make. I mean, that's almost common sense. And Americans don't do that. Everything's on the credit card, and the credit cards eat you alive. It's like, buy in bulk, buy on sale, buy during sales cycles. I mean, it's not like a big secret. People just don't have the discipline to do it.
It's just crazy, and I've learned a lot. I called. You guys don't understand. I made one phone call for myself and one for my mom, and we're talking about this about everything. But I called my Comcast. They were charging me an arm and a leg. I was spending I don't know how much. I ended up saving my family, and I posted this on social media. My family, my wife and kids, over $2,000 or so within the 2 years. And then my mom, the same thing, about $1,200. This is a phone call could save you money. So, I mean, it's just, learning that it's very important.
When you tell these companies, I'm leaving, you'll see how fast they try to make you a deal. Many times.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And the other thing is, you know what you watch and don't watch. Don't pay for channels you're not watching. Save or invest that money. And, I know it's overwhelming if you've never done this before, but Roth IRAs, and if you're with a good company that offers a 401k, that's what you look into. I mean, it's not rocket scientry. It's there in front of people, and unfortunately, they teach in school about nonsense, and they don't teach you about something like this that's life-changing.
Definitely, and I agree with that. We're talking about concussions and injury, not led to this.
But more importantly, how's learning?
How's the what?
But more
how's
importantly,
Lana?
how's Lana doing?
Yeah, she's doing great. You know, she's taking
Okay.
pictures off on the internet. But you know, all right. So we're talking about and let's I don't even know where to go from here, right? And I know that this conversation wouldn't be honest, but you know, we're talking about concussion. Why can't I say that? Concussion. I can't say it tonight.
Concussions.
Concussions. I'm still saying it wrong. My Cuban is coming out tonight.
Yeah, it's close enough. We'll take it.
All right, that sounds good. All right, so a new interview came out accusing Bubba Ray Dudley of concussing them, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it and go from there. John, can you just introduce the thing, please? I'm sorry.
Actually, I know about as much as you just said. Evidently, Rene Dupree and a few other wrestlers are accusing Bubba Ray of concussing them, whether it's working too stiff or what the deal is. I don't know much about it. You mentioned that to me today, and I was like, well, that's a good topic. I know
Well,
Evan
all
can
right,
give
so
us
we'll
a
call
40
Evan Ginsberg because he mentioned it to us in the first place, and I haven't had the time to read the entire story.
Evan can give us about a 4 to 5 hour spiel on this, and it'll be
No,
actually
come
quite
on. So
entertaining.
Evan, so what are your thoughts on what came out with former WWE superstar?
Well, you know, it's like any other case. You know, he said, she said, he said, he
Oh,
said.
definitely.
You know, it's a hard thing to prove. Obviously, look, when I was a kid, I sound like I'm 100 when I do that, but the old school wrestlers,
there you go, say it like
prided themselves on working light. Okay, today's wrestlers, that's not always the case, and you know, the Steiners and Vader, and you know, this is already going back a decade or two also, but you know, these guys, you know, amped it up quite a bit, and there were people that were hurt, and some of the old school guys were like, hey, I was light as a feather, and I take pride in the fact that I wrestled for 30 years, and I never hurt anybody.
Yes.
So, you know, it is what it is. It's stylistic differences, stylistic choices, but if, and again, you know, you can't prove it, and these are allegations. If somebody intentionally hurt somebody, that's the antithesis of what pro wrestling is supposed to be. You're working with the person. It's not you know, MMA or boxing where you're trying to knock the guy out. I mean, you know, so I could understand if somebody feels. Look, I've heard many wrestlers say to me, you know, I'm entrusting my body with another human being, you know, and the point is for them not to hurt you, but to make it look as convincing as possible. So, you know, what can I say? I mean, ECW, I mean, you know, they amped everything up significantly also. I mean, you know, I don't think your body's meant to be going through tables either. You know, it's like Lou Thesz or Pat O'Connor never went through tables. They wrestled. So, it's a rough business. It's a rough business.
And it's just, I agree. I think there was even a stat for a long time that with Bret Hart, I think he's one of those last guys that, you know, maybe even Johnson, that Bret Hart, but I don't know why in particular I remember Bret Hart, that he wrestled I don't know how many years before anybody got injured in one of his matches. And I take that back to where Stu Hart, you know, where he got trained, taught him, hey, you know, you got to protect the guy you're in the ring with, because, you know, one of the main reasons you're there is because of that other guy, you know. So to hear the stuff about Bubba Ray, I mean, it to me it's shocking, but at the same time, I don't know why it's not. You know, it's one of those things where I know I've heard of wrestlers being stiff because they get upset in the ring. Scott Steiner is one of them. I know Brock Lesnar has that reputation too, just because he doesn't know his strength. And I agree. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, wrestling. You're supposed to protect each other. But if you're wrestling that guy, and I'm going to go, just imagine, Evan, if you're one of those sons of bitches out there, and you know you're next in line. The only way to get there, you know, the other guy is going to win that. Let's say it's a number one contendership match, is you and me. And if you know that I'm going over at the next pay-per-view, you're going to win. What if I get injured because of that our match? I'm sure that's happened before where somebody injures somebody intentionally. It doesn't come out that often, but do you think that's something that does happen or has happened in the past?
I always read that Hiro Matsuda broke Hulk Hogan's leg when he was training him on purpose.
Oh, yeah, that was on purpose. I heard about that. Yeah.
That's an allegation. I'm not saying it's true, but
I heard it too.
I read that.
When was that?
I'm sorry, John?
Aren't you listening to our enlightening conversation?
I had to step away for a moment.
Oh, okay, sorry.
He's watching the ladies' match on TNA.
No, it was unfortunately it was a pit stop. I couldn't wait.
Oh, there you go. Live wrestling. Okay.
This is live radio, folks. Occasionally, the host has to take a whiz.
Thank you, John.
Al does it usually every other week, so.
There you go.
Every other week, you better see a doctor.
Oh man. So all right. So we're just talking about wrestlers intentionally injuring others and
Iron Sheik told me, whether it's true or not. Iron Sheik actually said to me that Vern Gagne offered him $100,000 to break Hulk Hogan's leg.
Well, I mean, it's the Iron Sheik. I know he's always been out there.
Fuck you, Hulk Hogan!
He sounded awfully convincing.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Hulk Hogan!
You jabroni rock star.
You jabroni! I make you tap out the camel clutch!
Jabroni rock star. This guy is crazy.
I make you tap out! Fuck you, Hulk Hogan!
Oh man!
I think he said that on Raw once when right after they went PG, because it was the last time Raw was in Madison Square Garden. He's got the action figures. I make you tap out the camel clutch, bitch. Fuck you, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Oh man! I wanted to get your little insight and let's talk a little bit of the tag division with you when it comes to the WWE. We had the Dudley Boys return. I mean, I know you haven't been watching, so it's kind of tough. But there's rumors going around that the Hardy Boys are done with TNA wrestling and might be coming to the WWE.
Thank the Lord.
I mean, what are your? And I know John, he's all up for it. I
don't care so much if Matt comes back, but Jeff coming back.
Well, you got to have the Hardy Boys with Devon back. What are your thoughts? I mean, you think that they're still? I mean. You want to see that happen, or do you care less about them coming to the WWE?
I think they're not what they were at this point, but I think they're experienced enough where they can do less with more, like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's not what he was 20 years ago, but he knows how to make every move count and pop the crowd and master a psychology and... Yeah, I think they would put on perfectly good matches and teach some of the younger teams, and I don't see any downside to it.
Now, what do you think he would have more value? Do you think it would be more value as the Hardy Boys with his brother, or do you think he would have more value if he came back in an upper mid-card role or even not for a long-term program, but even a quick main event program?
Oh, a smart promoter would know how to do both. Like, I remember Ricky Morton headlining against Ric Flair in baseball stadiums, Meanwhile, he was regarded as a tag team wrestler. Same thing with the Koloffs. All of a sudden, Nikita Koloff could be in a main event. If you promote people right. I saw Arthur and Sika both wrestle Backlund at the Garden. For the title. It's like you can have credibility as both, but you really have to be pushed the right way to sell that. I mean, I don't see right now Matt Hardy against Seth Rollins selling tickets, but his brother certainly could.
I think Matt Hardy could be a solid addition to the U.S. title picture.
Sure. Why not?
U.S. title or IC title. But do you think if the Hardy Boys come back with the additions of the Dudleys, with the resurgence, or not resurgence, but with the rise, so to speak, of the New Day, do you think this could be the beginning? You know, they say Divas Revolution, so I don't want to steal the same word. Do you think this could be the beginning of a tag team renaissance in the WWE?
Not if they have to go to old timers. No.
Well, I think you
have to build. I think you have to build it from the ground up and make new stars.
And I think in some regards they have done that. With the New Day, with the primetime players, even though they're kind of, the Ascension, if they gave them more time, the Lucha Dragons.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Be honest. Mm-hmm. Okay. WWE at a major arena for a house show is $25 to $125 approximately a ticket. Okay.
It was about.
Would you
What's up?
Pay good money because New Day or the Ascension or any of the primetime players were in the main event of the co-feature? I certainly wouldn't. I could care less.
Depending on who they're facing, and I'm being dead serious.
Well, who is there to face?
If the Hardys are there, if that's a co-main event, I'd be inclined. Not saying I necessarily would. Okay. But
now,
I've always been a big Jeff Hardy fan and a big Hardy Boys fan.
I thought the Shield, the three of the guys together, were as great as anybody since the Bulldogs. That's how great I thought those guys were together. They were like the perfect combination. Well, and why they divided them, it just dumbfounds me because that was the best thing since the Freebirds. I mean, those guys together were magic, and individually they're not. I mean, they're good, they're very good, sometimes great, but together those guys were magic.
Do you think? I asked Al about this earlier in the broadcast. Do you think? They're starting to tease a little bit of the Authority turning on Seth Rollins. If they do that could seemingly or theoretically put Seth Rollins as a babyface. Could that lead to a Shield reunion for Survivor Series?
Well, that would be great. That would be great because I think they could. They were so tremendous, and it's like every time you saw them, they were good, very good, or great. They never had a bad match. They could easily do another year or two if they put them back together. And
would you add a fourth person?
What's that?
Would you add a fourth person? Maybe a guy like a Finn Balor.
I don't know if they need a fourth person.
I don't know if they need one, but
what happens like on TNA when you have 27 guys in the ring, it just becomes like a spot fest and it loses the intensity. If you have these three guys as a legitimate team against, the Authority or somebody that's like a legitimate team, when you just throw people together aimlessly, it means nothing.
Well, I asked that in the sense of kind of like how the Four Horsemen were. Seth Rollins is clearly the main event guy. He could be the Ric Flair. You could have Roman Reigns be the Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, the muscle.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And then do Dean Ambrose and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Awesome. And then maybe, I know he did it last year, but maybe redo it better with some of his guys. Maybe Triple H brings up or pegs some guys and brings back Evolution, but instead of him wrestling, maybe a Kevin Owens, maybe a Tyler Breeze, maybe a tag. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a young tag team that could go with them. Maybe. Do you know who Blake and Murphy are?
Yeah.
That actually wouldn't be too bad if you get Tyler. Yeah, maybe not Tyler Breeze. Maybe I don't know who you'd put for the guy to rival Seth. We have Kevin Owens as the muscle, and bring up Blake and Murphy as the tag team. I think that'd actually be a pretty good thing. What about the? I know he's a major babyface, but what about Apollo Crews?
I think he's going to be pushed as a singles guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm reaching for the sky here, trying to think of something. But
Well, you have built-in, you have like the whole built-in thing. You have Triple H and
I could say Sheamus to make
Kane
everybody.
and the Authority, and those are the guys you would put in with the Shield to begin with, and then
I'll make you
one
rip your
belt-
eyes out, and let's say Sheamus.
Oh, Sheamus.
That's why I said I'll make you rip your eyes out.
You want to know something? He is not a bad wrestler, but
No, it's just
again, he's lacking a certain amount of charisma. They haven't promoted him right. You see him one time, he's in the main event. You see him the next time, he's in the opening match. He wins, he loses. They don't know what to do with him. And,
Do you think he would be better off with a manager? I don't want to pimp him out and say Paul Heyman, but
you can't give somebody charisma. So yeah, a manager would help.
what about like a William Regal?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
The video game a few years ago took the idea. I've always loved the idea when he was in WWE of Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Drew McIntyre, and even if you want an older guy in there, Finlay, and then be managed by William Regal. And you could,
yeah.
What did I call it? The United Kingdom.
I think it's a great idea because years ago, when you had that great feud where all of a sudden America hated Canada, if the wrestling fans are so stupid that they could hate Canada, they could certainly get them to hate England or Wales or whatever the case may be. It's doable. Xenophobia. If Trump becomes president, you could certainly do the I Hate England main event.
Just trying to think of different.
Yeah.
Because, the idea, and TNA did it into the ground and did it to death. The idea of faction warfare and gang warfare isn't a bad one. DX and the NWO and the Four Horsemen and the Nation and the Corporation, all those guys in the 90s and 80s, and the Freebirds, they proved that it's a great idea if you can execute it right.
I'll tell you who would be huge, and again, TNA squandered them, LAX.
Yes.
LAX would be perfect in this political climate.
I'd love
with Trump, with the xenophobia, anti-immigrant stuff. LAX would be huge, and Homicide and Hernandez to wrestle on top of it.
You could even bring in, if you want to even make it bigger, bring in Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio would fit right in with that.
Yeah, Conan,
Rey Mysterio, Alberto El Patron.
They would be huge in WWE.
Absolutely.
Because WWE, they know how to do the anti-immigrant stuff. Because that was always
just have JBL and Zeb Coulter lead it.
Yeah, that was always McMahon Senior's bread and butter. They would bring in the huge foreign heel to wrestle Bruno or Backlund, or Hogan, and that was the bread and butter. Iron Sheik, Nikolai.
I'm trying to think. It was a feud not too long ago. I think it was like 3-4 years, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. There were two guys, and they were trying to chant USA at them, and neither one of them were American. But the heel was from a different country.
Yeah,
I don't remember what feud it was, but
look, I grew up in the 70s going to wrestling, and it was always Waldo Von Erich or Spiros Arion or Baron Von Raschke coming in to take on the beloved face, and the anti-immigrant stuff. I'm not endorsing it, believe me, but I'm telling you, the wrestling fans would eat it up. So whether it's England, Canada, whatever it is, LAX, it would work. It would definitely work.
I don't know. I just something with WWE needs to get switched up. That's kind of the bottom line here.
Well, what you need is matches and feuds where you actually care. Where, okay, like Lesnar and The Undertaker. that was a tremendous, tremendous match, that last match, and they killed it dead with the stupid ending. I would have had Undertaker pin him clean. Then you got one and one, and here's the rubber match. Then you got Ali Frazier. You know, you got the trilogy. You know that. I mean, now I don't know if they, killed it to a degree, but that's you need feuds where you actually care, where it's not just
a lot
Seth
of people,
Rollins winning with a screw job finish or whatever, tedious after a while.
A lot of people, give Cena a lot of slack for, not being in a lot of those great feuds, but how did you like, and I was going to try to mention it before when you were talking about like all the great feuds, you mentioned Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. What about Cena and Punk in 2011, where it had that whole sense of realism, where they turned a real-life thing into the storyline? Was Punk leaving? Was he not leaving?
It was great because people actually cared and were interested and were
involved. Do you think he should have stayed gone longer?
Sure. And for those Cena haters, this guy's had some of the best matches of the past couple of years, again and again and again. I mean,
anytime he's wrestling Punk or Bryan or Rock or, any of the guys he faced for the U.S. title open, and Seth Rollins, hell, when he's not getting suplexed to hell, the Royal Rumble match with Brock Lesnar wasn't that bad.
I think, again, if you really, really care, it's going to work. If it's just looked at as they threw two guys together because they have a monthly pay-per-view, then it doesn't mean anything.
Well, that now that you mention that, I really want to get your thoughts on this, and I've said it before off air a lot of times. Not recently. Wayne and I used to talk about this a lot. Do you think WWE should reduce the amount of pay-per-views? And before you answer that, what do you think would be a suitable number? I've always thought 8. 8 would be a very fair number of pay-per-views.
0.
No.
Sorry. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know how many was the minimum. I don't know how. I remember that Eric Bischoff was the pioneer, and he decided that every month there should be a pay-per-view.
Did you just say Eric Bischoff was the pioneer of pay-per-view?
Yes, he was, because he was the guy that created one pay-per-view every month. And then WWE
That started before Bischoff was in WWE.
No, I don't agree unless I am incorrect. But
I'm
Eric
pretty
Bischoff created
sure
the themed pay-per-views once a month.
In WCW or WWE?
No, WCW. What are you talking about? And then
I'm pretty sure, even as early as 97 or 98 or even 96, I want to say, they started having pay-per-views every month. It was around the late 90s. They got asinine with the pay-per-views. Like, they had probably 15, 16 pay-per-views.
To my knowledge, it was the fact that he started doing 12 pay-per-views a year up to 13, and that's when WWE followed suit. I might be wrong, but I think that's what happened.
Evan,
I think you should have 27 pay-per-views a month, like New Japan. Just like every day have a new pay-per-view.
Yeah, why not?
No, I'm kidding.
Well, on the WWE Network, you could have 27 pay-per-views if you've never seen it
you
before.
could have 100,000 of good stuff from the past.
No, again, you have to make it feel special. WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and I guess Survivor Series, those feel special. Everything else feels like B-level. You can watch it, you can not watch it. If you miss it, it's, not life or death. And
even with Survivor Series, it's been a while since I got really excited about a Survivor Series. SummerSlam and at WrestleMania, I understand. It's one of those you got to be there events. But Survivor Series for a while has been kind of wishy-washy for me.
I got to correct you, Al. I haven't looked at WCW yet, but as of 1995, from 94 to 95, 94 had 5 pay-per-views: January, March, June, August, and November. 95 had 10. And 96 had one every month with 2 in May. So I had 13 pay-per-views in 96. And I'm going to look up WCW.
All right, what was live and what was not?
Uh,
Because in your house, a few of them were not live.
Well, that doesn't really matter. They were still on a Sunday.
No, it doesn't matter because it's a big difference.
Well, I'm looking at WCW. But you guys keep talking. When I look at this up, I'll find out.
If you ask me right now to name the matches on the next WWE pay-per-view, I could maybe come up with 2. You know, they don't do a good job. They don't do a good job promoting it. Again, you don't care.
All I know is Sting versus Seth. Honestly, all I know is Sting versus Seth Rollins and John Cena versus Seth Rollins.
The Dudleys are facing the winner of the New Day and the Primetime Players.
So so they're facing whoever wins. But still,
WWE actually had it first with 13 pay-per-views in 1996. WCW had 1, 2.
So you're the guy who has the record book. They always talk about
Wikipedia is a beautiful thing.
Freaking Wikipedia over here.
But WCW had 10 in 1996, not having a pay-per-view in January.
You, live
January and April. They didn't have pay-per-views.
And John Cena and Randy Orton headlined every one of them.
It was actually 7 of them. 7 of them, Evan. And 14 of them in 1998. 14 of them in 98.
That's right. I want to see Cena and Orton go another 320 times because,
I think they learned their lesson.
Become the next tag team champions of the world.
I think they learned their lesson back last year at the Royal Rumble. When the crowd completely shit on that match, I think they realized it. That, you know, this may not be a feud we want to see.
Yeah.
And I think if we got it later than the Rumble last year, I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think it was done purposely. I think it was just done out of necessity, if that makes any sense. You know, because they had all the injuries that they did last year.
I'd rather see you 2 guys wrestle at this point than Cena.
I'm good. I'm good on that. Evan Ginsberg versus Bruce Hart in a 90-minute Iron Man match.
That's right.
Walkers are not allowed. You guys cannot use your walkers.
65-year-old Bruce Hart, this guy could probably make it work, because that's how good this guy is. Trust me.
We got 5 matches right now for Night of Champions. Rollins and Sting for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Rollins and Cena for the U.S. belt. Ambrose Reigns and either Orton or Baron Corbin versus Wyatt family in that 6-man match. Rusev versus Ziggler. And either the Primetime Players or the New Day defending against the Dudley Boys for the WWE Tag Titles. And I can only imagine... I can't imagine we're going to have a Night of Champions pay-per-view without a Divas title match. So I'm sure Nikki and Charlotte will have another match. And who the hell's Ryback feuding with? Is he still feuding with Miz and Big Slow?
No, it looks like he'll wrestle Kevin Owens.
Is that who he's feuding with right now?
They're starting it.
Yay! Good. Get the fucking belt off Ryback.
That's not going to happen.
Listen, Owens could go on a year fucking tear as the IC champion. And it would do more for the belt than Ryback has in the last 3
Well, I thought that Owens would do that for the United States Championship. It is what
Holy
All right, so I got to ask you guys. I tried to ask Bruce last week, and I'm going to ask Evan. I'm going to try to reword this as much as I can.
Oh, dear God. Evan, bear with him.
Everybody said that I didn't ask the question right.
You didn't ask it right.
All right, so Evan, if you were Vince McMahon, the son of the Mr. McMahon, the real Mr. McMahon.
Oh dear God.
I was just trying to ask because
if you could be Vince McMahon and had Vince McMahon's mind, how would you book?
No, that's not what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask was. I know that we're very critical of WWE and more Vince McMahon, the way that he treated the industry. I mean, he bought everybody out and all that. Evan, if you were in the same shoes, do you think that's something you would do? I know that it's a hard question to answer.
Absolutely not, because my entire life was not about money and greed. And yeah, I've always tried to create art on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And do the best you can with what limited resources you have. And I would never, say, oh my God, I want to put my father's old partners out of business. And it's just not my nature, if that's what you're asking.
Well, then here's my question. Let's say, if you, literally, and this is hard to do because you were brought up differently and I was too. But if you were in his shoes, the way he was brought up, I guess you can't really answer the question. I wouldn't be able to either. Cause
his father, Vince McMahon Sr., worked hand in hand with all the NWA promoters. They used to have Harley Race come into the Garden. Used to come into the Garden and defend the NWA belt. His father would not have done what Vince did.
And Heyman said that on numerous occasions, that Vince Sr. had numerous agreements with the NWA, with the AWA, with a bunch of different other promotions, where he said, "I will not buy you out."
I mean,
basically,
what you're really saying is Vince McMahon Sr. was making a lot of money, and McMahon wanted everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not me. That's not me. I mean, if I were doing a radio show and making a lot of money, I'd be happy if you guys were doing radio and making a lot of money. I wouldn't try to put you out of business. I'd be like, he's a different breed. It's like when you talk to guys like Donald Trump, you reach a point you have so much money, it's not about the money. It's about the conquest. It's about beating the other guy. It's about taking something away from the other guy. It's a different breed of person,
So in a sense, you and I, and even maybe John, won't be able to understand that type of breed of person. Meaning, like, Donald Trump's son might be even worse than Donald Trump, in a sense, right?
Well, until Stephanie puts her foot down and says, "I want 401ks and pensions and everything for the crew," then I once heard an interesting interview with McMahon's son, who said that what they consciously did was decide, we don't want any one wrestler to be too powerful. Okay? What we want it to be is the WWE experience, where you go into the arena and you see the pyro and you hear the entrance music and you see the beautiful divas, etc., so on. And that's the experience you're paying for, as opposed to The Rock has total power, or Hogan, or Austin, or whoever. And it does make sense. It really does make sense. Financially, anyway.
See, I'm of the same mind, but I'm slightly different. If I'm running a wrestling company, if I have I'm torn on that, because if I have a wrestling company, I wouldn't want somebody to be able to creep up and take my market share. I wouldn't want somebody to have a chance to get the upper hand and put me out of business, and then my livelihood is gone because I wanted to play nice.
These guys were around forever where that wasn't the case. Vince was the guy who tried to change it.
But do we know, going into the 90s and 2000s, hypothetically, if these, that's going to be like the theme of the episode is hypotheticals. Do we know if they did go into the 90s and 2000s with their companies, would they have not tried the same thing if they got the same amount of success as the World Wrestling Federation? Or even the Worldwide Wrestling
Bill Maher, whether you like him or not, had an interesting segment where he was talking about the Olsen twins, who have $1 billion fashion industry, and they're selling $55,000 pocketbooks. Okay, and their interns are suing them for not getting paid anything. $1 billion corporation, and Bill Maher said this is indicative of the greed of society today. You know, maybe 40 years ago, it was a different society. You saw the movie Wall Street, where the Michael Douglas character goes, greed is good. When I grew up, it was the exact opposite. It was not greed is good. You know, to me, Michael Jordan is not a hero for having, you know, $300 sneakers and paying factory workers next to nothing. That's not a hero. Martin Luther King was a hero. There's a very big difference. So, you know, to me, just to make more money by selling schlock and having a mediocre product and hawking merchandise, you know, I would rather create art personally. And, you know, that's, you know, we did The Wrestler on a $6 million budget. You know, we created art on next to nothing. You know, everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. New Japan creates art. You know, WWE's hit and miss. You know, they've had some great matches. I don't want to paint a totally negative picture. But, you know, I certainly think a union is needed, and I certainly think wrestlers deserve pensions and 401k and health benefits and what any other, you know, they call them independent contractors, but they're working for them 200 nights a year.
So let me ask you, do you ever see a scenario that would happen, and what do you think it would take?
The scenario would be if the wrestlers finally put their feet down and you had one person who had some kind of political leadership quality that would organize them and nobody snitching them out. And, you know, it hasn't happened and it probably never will happen because, you know, I think you have the other extreme where people ruthlessly try to climb to the top. And
do you think it could be a byproduct if more and more people are filing lawsuits against the WWE for concussions? Do you think that could be a byproduct if that actually picks up steam and more people start joining along with that, and you know they start actually taking these lawsuits against the WWE somewhere? Do you think that could be somewhere where the wrestlers filing the lawsuits could make it, you know, their settlement that the WWE has to provide 401ks, has to provide pensions, has to provide insurance? I mean, Vince McMahon.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm really not the person to answer that. But you know, I think where people have more leverage is in public perception. You know, when one wrestler after another died, all of a sudden, WWE's providing rehab. Okay? I think pressure leads to things. Whether or not, you know, they have a winnable case in court, I'm not the best person to answer that. I mean, you know, there could be legitimacy to, yes, they're getting concussions in the ring, but, you know, they also wrestled for other promoters, and some of them wrestled for decades in other places. So I don't know legally where it stands, but I'm always for the worker. I always wish the worker the best. And, you know, when you have New York City school teachers making more than quote-unquote superstars on hit primetime TV shows, I think something's wrong. And when you have pay-per-views from 20, 25 years ago where a large chunk of the wrestlers are dead, obviously there's some problems here, you know, because you will not see those numbers in football or basketball. And, you know, those are, you know, also contact sports, but you just don't see those kind of numbers. So
it's unfortunate, to say the least.
It's brutal business.
Yeah. But, Evan, tell us, what's coming up this Saturday on Legends TV live on legendstvnyc.com and on the Madhouse TV networks? I finally got the freaking website name right, by the way.
Finally, we got to go play a lottery now. Shit.
I have a blues band, the Dry States. I have a massive bodybuilder who is training to be a wrestler. I have a magician, and I have a theatrical producer. So it's always an eclectic mix. And the following week, we have a live jam session with rapper AIG, who is like one of the most colorful people you'll ever meet. Like, just total energy, this guy. And he's an actor, producer, rapper. So
Get a wrap off between him and God, I'm having a brain fart. Men on a Mission.
Oh,
Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar from Men on a Mission. Yeah, he's done my show. Yeah, he's a good guy, Oscar. I like him.
You know who?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm a middle-aged white guy, and I love hip hop. I love indie hip hop. I don't like the commercial, sexist, homophobic, materialistic commercial hip hop. But some of the indie guys are tremendous, and I regularly support them and feature them on my show. And if you check out the archives, there's tons of wrestling. We had an interesting conversation the other day. I had this guy, Mean Mark Nest, who runs a wrestling school out of the Pennsylvania area, and his whole crew. And he's a big boy. He's like Haystacks Calhoun kind of, he's a big boy. And we were talking about the whole, like, why do you need a six-pack of abs to have credibility in pro wrestling? So if you go to legendstvnyc.com, you could hear that conversation.
Awesome stuff. And I know it's not this Saturday. You know what else is coming up on Legends TV? I'm calling him out, Evan.
What's that?
Our own Alfonso Merriman.
I'm trying. Don't do that to me yet.
What's happening?
I'm trying to call out Al and tell him that Al Merriman will be on Legends TV in the coming weeks.
That's in production, so of course John would do that to me. But I'm trying.
Of course I will. You gotta have a shirt made.
He has to clear that with his parole officer, the authorities, immigration.
Yes. There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
The real authority, a.k.a. Hi, Mrs. Merriman.
Yes.
Tell her to come on. That'll be fun.
We'll see what happens. I'll try my best.
Yeah, I'm having a big party to celebrate the show on the 17th in New York. So come on out for that also. Patty's Bar in Flushing, Queens. October 17th. Live show, and it's always an eclectic mix of people that we have. So come on down.
I got to make myself look bad. Evan's going to be there.
Good.
Evan and his friends are going to be there. Al possibly will be there from Miami, Florida. Yet, John's happy ass from Syracuse, New York, or near Syracuse, New York, can't make it down.
That's horrible.
There's something wrong with that picture.
I think you're
You gotta
fired.
go old school. Just hop on that Greyhound. Come on
That's
down.
what I'm saying, man. It's got to be like, what, $10-$20?
No.
I'll tell you a funny story. I once took a Greyhound to go to Jimmy Valiant's school in Shoresville, Virginia. It was 14 hours on the Greyhound.
Oh, shit.
So Jimmy, it's this little town, and his wrestling school is on top of a mountain. And I'm telling this girl on the Greyhound that Jimmy Valiant's meeting me at the Greyhound station. Like, she couldn't believe it, because to her this was like the president of the United States. Because this guy's like the king of this small town. Everybody knows him. So I said, yeah. I said, Jimmy's going to be in the Greyhound terminal waiting, and you could say hello to him. She was freaking out. So that's my Greyhound story.
Good stuff. Well, Evan,
They inducted me into his Hall of Fame, by the way.
Awesome.
so now we could say we have a Hall of Fame associate producer.
That's right. I'm also a retired teacher. Besides all the art stuff, no school ever gave me an honorary degree, but Boogie's wrestling camp did. So that's right.
But
To go to my grave saying I'm in a wrestling Hall of Fame. So
With the Grammy, right?
well, No Grammy.
No, guy.
Hey, you never know yet. Never know what'll come.
Yeah, you never know.
But Evan, thank you for coming on. It's been in the last hour and a half or so with us. It's been fun.
It's the highlight of my day. Anytime, guys.
Look forward to having you back next week, hopefully with some guests on here.
And tell everybody to check out last week's show with Bruce Hart. It was hot.
Absolutely. Well, Evan,
If you guys ever need indie wrestlers, I know about 2,000 of them.
And
I could always
that's
get
where
a
we're
good
going
guest.
in on the future for sure.
I'll be talking to you after the show, Evan.
All right. Okay. Okay.
No, for
bye,
sure.
man.
That's what we want.
Okay.
All right, Evan, take care.
Take care.
All right, guys. That was Evan Ginsberg with an extended edition of Ginsberg's Gab this week. We're going to take a commercial break here. When we get back, we got about 20 minutes left in the show. We got a little bit of news about GFW. We're going to talk a little bit more about TNA. And if the end could be near, and by near, I mean within the next 3 weeks. So, dire times in Nashville, Tennessee, for sure. But, guys, this is Main Event Madness Radio, your wrestling podcast, your wrestling website. We are live, September 9th edition of the broadcast. We will be back after a commercial break here, live on maineventmadness.com and wrestling-news.net. Want wrestling news? Want sports news? Want columns, podcasts, shopping, and a place to chat with fans around the world? Then you want maineventmadness.com. This site has everything from the latest news about all your favorite wrestling companies, including WWE, TNA, ROH, and Global Force Wrestling, as well as news about all the major sports leagues, MLB, NFL, and NBA. Give us a try, and you won't regret it. It's maineventmadness.com, where the madness runs wild. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Looking for quality wrestling news with an international flair? Looking for results and news from around the world? Look no further than wrestling-news.net. Wayne Daly and his crew have you covered from top to bottom, from WWE to TNA to the top independent companies from around the world. Check them out, wrestling-news.net. So you decided to check out Main Event Madness, and now you want to know how you can get the latest news about the show, the hosts, guests, showtimes, and more? Well, the answer's simple. Facebook. Head over to facebook.com/maineventmadness and be a part of the hundreds who have already liked the page and are the first to know everything you could ask about Main Event Madness. Facebook.com/maineventmadness, the official Facebook page for Main Event Madness Radio. Want to write a column, report news, a blog, or simply help out with the website? No problem. We're looking for reporters for sports, wrestling, and columnists. If interested, send an email and a resume to job@maineventmadness.com and join our team today. Main Event Madness is an equal opportunity employer. Please only send serious inquiries. The spam will not be read. From the associate producer of The Wrestler, and in the tradition of Joe Franklin and Ed Sullivan variety talk shows, Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV features an eclectic mix of legendary million-selling musicians, indie artists deserving greater exposure, and colorful pro wrestlers. Co-hosted by Steve Ludwig of Classic Pop Culture Radio, the show airs live every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern at MadhouseTV.com and LegendsTVNYC.com. Martha Wash, Crown Heights Affair, Lanny Poffo, Nicole Bass, and other legends have joined us. You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV. Life is about working. Life is about progress. So why not put them together? Well, we did. Join Matt Brees and Mike Brooker every week for Working Progress, the Fans View podcast. Each week, the guys talk the latest in wrestling and sports and dabble in some fantasy ideas that'll blow your mind. It's the Working Progress every week only on MainEventMadness.com. Alright guys, Main Event Madness Radio, we are live. It is September 9th, 2015. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday night. And it's been a fun show, to say the least, so far. We had Evan Ginsberg, associate producer of the Oscar-nominated film The Wrestler, on the show with us for about an hour and a half. Talked about a lot of stuff. We got some more news coming up here about Global Force Wrestling and Impact Wrestling, and it's not good news. It's not good news, to say the least. I'm going to waiting on Al to get back here to talk about that. But something that is good news, considering where WrestleMania is next year, with it being in Dallas, Texas, and Undertaker obviously is from Houston. Apparently, according to Jim Ross, the Undertaker is no longer being talked about retiring at WrestleMania 32, and that Jim Ross feels that Taker could be going a little bit longer. So that definitely makes things interesting, and it kind of hurts WrestleMania 32 a little bit too, because you want to fill a 100,000 person stadium. Not having something like the Undertaker's retirement match kind of puts a damper in that, and another hindrance, not hindrance, but another setback, I guess you could say, for WrestleMania 32 is, I just saw a post on Facebook from another website. Apparently, Ronda Rousey confirmed in an interview she's not going to be at WrestleMania 32. I guess she's going to be filming a movie. Don't remember the name of the movie, but nonetheless, the fact that she's going to be filming a movie 100% confirms that that she will not be at WrestleMania. So the dream match of Ronda Rousey and The Rock versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, at least for the time being, is not going to be happening. Whether or not they maybe hold off for that for WrestleMania 33, whether they go back to Orlando or Miami for that one, or if they're going up to Minnesota, we'll find out in the next couple of months. But that's definitely unfortunate. Oh wow, that's definitely unfortunate, to say the least, for WWE, because I mean they got Sting and they're gonna have the Undertaker, so they're gonna be draws regardless. But to not have the hoopla and everything that goes with it to follow it with possibly the Undertaker's retirement match. I mean, could it be Sting's retirement match? I definitely think that's a possibility. Who they have him face? I mean, if the Undertaker isn't retiring, I definitely think it could be the Undertaker and Sting at WrestleMania 32. Now that this isn't going to be Taker's last WrestleMania. Maybe it's going to be 33, 34. I mean, maybe he wants to get the 25 wins and have the silver, whatever, 25, or maybe he wants to retire 5 wins over 500 or over 25, 26 and 1. Who knows? Taker. I mean, if he's gonna continue, the biggest thing is we don't know how much longer Undertaker's body can hold up. I mean, yes, not working with a guy like Brock Lesnar is going to help him, because he's not going to be working such a high impact, such a high physical match like he did with Brock Lesnar. But I mean, we saw how great of a match he put on at WrestleMania 31 against Bray Wyatt. And Bray's a younger guy, and I think Undertaker and Sting, I mean, the more I've sat on it, the more I've thought about it, it's not going to be as great as we want it to be. I mean, if this was 2005, I think absolutely. But now, I don't know. But then that brings the question: who do you put the Undertaker against next year? Could it be Sting? Could it be Cena? Cena. If you look at the Undertaker's long list of WrestleMania opponents, if I get my S together here, Cena's kind of the one guy that's ominously and conspicuous by his absence on that list, especially with the guys from this generation, so to speak, of talent. You know, Edge, Batista, Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Bray Wyatt, among others. It's definitely conspicuous absence. But time
Let me
will
ask
tell.
you:
What's up?
has John Cena ever faced the Undertaker?
Yes, he feuded with him like 03, 04 when he was still the rapper. I think it was 03 because I think Cena was still heel. But it was like 03, 04, maybe 05. No, 05 he won the belt. That was like
So
03,
it was
04.
before that. You're right.
And the last match that I remember them having was, because it was right after I started watching again. They didn't even finish the match because they had the big. You remember, like 10 years ago, they had the big Champions of Champions feud between Cena, Big Show, and King Booker.
What was it called again?
They were trying to determine the Champion of Champions.
Oh yeah. I remember.
It was the Raw. It's the Raw Family Reunion.
Yeah. Yep.
And the main event was Cena versus The Undertaker. And that was the last time that I remember. I mean, if anybody wants to call me out and correct me on that, you know, at John MEM Radio, which none of us have even hyped our Twitters, you could also let Al know, at Al.
Me, madness.
And let us know if I'm wrong on that. But, yeah, and that was that 06? Or was that 05?
05. I want to say 05, 06. I'm
It was
not
one
sure.
of the
I
other.
think 05.
I think 05, 06, one or the other. But yeah, I mean, and the only other time that the two of them have been in the same ring, and this one I do remember, was the last time Raw was in MSG, because they had a freaking colossal main event. It was Jericho, Big Show, and Chris Jericho taking on D-Generation X, Triple H, Shawn Michaels versus John Cena and The Undertaker.
I remember that. Yeah.
That is
that
the
even
most
televised?
star-studded main event I
Was
ever.
that televised?
Yes. It was the Raw before Survivor Series because they had the dual triple threats. Cena defended the WWE Championship against against Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Jericho. Undertaker defending against Jericho and Big Show. You know what's absolutely fucking crazy to think about? That was 09. To that point, that was the first time Undertaker and Jericho have been in the feud together.
They never did anything before that?
No.
Wow.
You know how they do Undertaker versus Chris Jericho for the first time ever? You want on a fucking throwaway edition of SmackDown.
That sounds about right.
And it's like, that could have been WrestleMania, you dumbasses.
I'm just shocked that Undertaker and Cena never had a real feud.
Well, I mean, since Cena's been a main eventer, they haven't. But
you would think they would have done that
mm-hmm.
to sell tickets at Mania or not even that. They never really had a feud where John Cena was the main guy and Taker was the other. You know what I mean? I think I don't know. It blows my freaking mind.
But to fill you in, Ronda Rousey confirmed she will not be at WrestleMania 32. She's doing a movie.
And I will not order the pay-per-view now.
Jim Ross has stated, and apparently there's backstage reports, Undertaker is not retiring at WrestleMania 32.
So how long?
That's the talk right now.
How much more is it going to go?
They didn't say how long, but that it's no longer being talked about backstage. And this isn't from Jim Ross. This is the other report.
Okay.
It's not being talked about backstage that Taker is going to retire. At least at 32.
So I mean, shit. How much longer do you think he's going to do this?
Me personally, 35.
That's crazy.
The big anniversary, the next anniversary of WrestleMania, I think that's when, to sell the 35th anniversary of WrestleMania, Undertaker's retirement match. It's stupid. Unless they think they're going to be back in Texas before then. It's stupupid.
Yeah, there's no way they'll be back in Texas.
I mean,
I think they're even talking about Florida and
well, I mean,
Georgia.
35. I mean, Atlanta's going to get it again because they got the new Falcon Stadium being built. Los Angeles might get it again because of if they end up building that Chargers arena. But I mean, next year's probably going to be Minnesota.
Shit, even Minnesota has a buy-in because I think they're building a new stadium over there.
32 Dallas, 33, let's say Minnesota, 34 Orlando or Miami.
Miami, baby, come on, please.
Or Philadelphia, 35, whatever doesn't get 34. I mean, that's realistic here.
You know what's funny? I heard a lot about Philadelphia that they're going to get one real soon.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but I don't know
and
why.
I've heard Buckeye Stadium, too, in Ohio.
Oh, yeah, me too, yeah. But that Buckeye Stadium, I think, holds like 90 to 100,000 people.
100,000 people.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. And another one, it'd actually be kind of fun, because they haven't gone back to a baseball stadium since 19, if they did it at Marlins Stadium.
What, for Mania?
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
It would be, but they're not going to get it. I think that stadium holds at most 28 to 30,000 people.
No
way they're going to do it there.
No,
and if they add,
it doesn't hold that few.
It does actually.
No,
dude, I can't Google it, but look at it right now.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God, it's a small stadium.
I'm looking it up right now. There's no way.
I guarantee you, it's not more than 30 to 35.
No way.
Yes, sir.
Well, keep talking. I'm going to look this up. GFW apparently had some Texas shows coming up the next couple of weeks, Al. I don't know if you saw this or not. They canceled the shows. And I went to sleep with this report. I forgot to send it to you. Apparently, the talk is a big investor for GFW pulled out and is considering Global Force to be a widely regarded failure. The report's words, not mine. I don't want Jarrett to think I'm trying to, shit bash GFW. They've been great to us. That's the last thing I would do.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I guess with the attendance and all that, I couldn't understand that. But shit, they've only run a few house shows, and I don't know. I think that I can't. I don't even know where to start. What is it? Toby Keith backing out? I mean, who the hell is backing out?
I don't know, but the report also stated they canceled the shows because they I guess Jarrett's going to the UK. Both because to try to secure a TV deal and to try to find a new investor.
Yeah,
they canceled the shows because they don't want to run the shows without Jarrett there.
That's exactly what scares me. Who gives a shit if Jarrett's there or not? You know what I mean? Like, they have good, strong names. It just doesn't make sense that they want to run the show because he's not there,
That's fucking stupid.
What?
Not about Jarrett or Global Force. With standing room capacity, 37,442.
I told you
that's fucking stupid.
How many does the Yankees Stadium hold?
I want to say 45 to 50.
And what's crazy about it, they're trying to stuff a soccer stadium right next to it. That area is so freaking small. I just don't understand.
The Bronx, yes.
It's crazy.
For baseball, it's 49,642 as of last year. They reduced the amount of seats from the first couple of years.
For my stadium or yours?
For Yankee Stadium. For the first 2 years of the stadium, it was 5,287. They added 4 seats for the 2 years following that, and reduced it by about 500, or about 1,000. About 1,000 seats. About 15.
So they added seats and it's less capacity?
No, they subtracted 1,500 seats.
Why?
Because the seats are so fucking outrageously priced.
Well, that makes sense. It's kind of like Dolphin Stadium where they're redoing the whole stadium.
Mm-hmm.
There's less seats now, but they're going to make more money in the long run.
Yep.
Which I don't fucking understand.
Well, I mean, for Yankee Stadium for football, they do the Pinstripe Bowl there, the BCS game. 54,251.
Oh wow!
That's
for sure. So there's no way in hell that the WrestleMania would end up at.
Well,
Barnes
I mean,
Park.
you got to think about how many seats you're putting on the floor too.
But still, there's no way you're gonna.
Yeah, that's true.
You might as well go to the Dolphin Stadium, which is getting renovated, and it's gonna hold almost 80,000 fucking fans.
Sun Life Stadium.
More.
That's it.
Yeah, Sun Life Stadium. But now they're gonna add a roof
Dear
to it.
God.
It's gonna be totally different. What?
Dear God, was that where WrestleMania was in 2012?
Yeah, don't remind me that I had tickets and I couldn't go because my fucking son decided to be born.
Okay, because the capacity for wrestling, I forgot this, was 78,363.
Yeah.
They beat us
That's
out
not
too, fuckers.
What happened?
I said they beat us out, fuckers.
It's a football stadium. I thought it would be 100,000.
No, I'm looking. I forgot what we had at WrestleMania. I'm looking really quick.
Well, fuck WrestleMania. Let me ask you straight up. Do you think GFW in jeopardy of fucking capsizing before it even starts?
Yes.
Why, though?
I think a lot of it it hinges, in my opinion, it hinges if they get a TV deal. And a big thing with that right now is, WWE's ratings. I saw a report earlier today. Raw and SmackDown's ratings are down 10%. Impact's ratings are non-existent. Ring of Honor is non-existent. A lot of networks are frowning on wrestling, which sucks because you go to the attendance, and I mean, aside from one smartass posting a picture trying to tell another website that apparently, there's only 100, 200 people at a wrestling show. Yes, smartass, the show didn't even start yet.
That's fucked up. I saw that too.
And it's you could clearly tell that the show's still filling up. But, I mean, wrestling attendance is going up. And if you don't believe me, ask NXT. But, I don't know. Do I think so? Is it a possibility? Yes. I'm going to tell you, by the time I move to Florida, it is a very distinct possibility. WWE and Ring of Honor are the only major names in professional wrestling in the United States.
And that's depressing.
Obscenely.
I'm sorry?
I said obscenely depressing. And if you don't consider Ring of Honor a major name in wrestling, WWE is about to be the only name. The next war, quote unquote war, could seriously be WWE versus New Japan.
What blows my mind is the fact that just a couple years ago, we were talking about TNA, Dudley, and then we were talking about Lucha Underground 12 months ago, and GFW.
Lucha Underground, as far as I'm concerned, or not as far as I'm concerned, as far as I've been told, Wayne told me the other day, it's all but kaput.
You see, it fucking blows my mind.
And it's the same deal, man. I think it's a lot of networks are down on pro wrestling.
If a guy like Donald Trump loved wrestling, or wait, who was it back in the day? Ted Turner, right? If somebody comes out with the amount of money that it needs, it'll come back to life. I believe that's the end of times. It blows my mind that now 6 to 12 months ago, I was psyched about Lucha Underground. Ring of Honor came to Destination America. They did okay ratings, and then it dropped out of nowhere.
9 months ago, we had a little bit of excitement for Impact.
Yeah, I don't know what. It fucking blows my mind.
But now here's the thing. GFW has no serious intellectual property. I mean, let's be realistic. A lot of them aren't signed to exclusive. None of them are signed to exclusive contracts.
Yeah, I agree.
Does WWE buy TNA? I say yes.
But why?
Video library, and Wayne mentioned that before, and I agree with him 100%. I don't know if they buy the talent. I think they acquire the video library, and I think TNA would sell it only to try to recoup a little bit of what they lost over the last couple of years.
It's so stupid because they had the potential in the world.
TNA, back in 2008 and 2009, TNA had every fucking chance in the world to challenge WWE.
I'll tell you this, they had more chances than that.
Yeah.
I think they had so many chances and they fucked all of them up.
If they did the right approach, the best thing they did, and it was also the worst thing they did, and that was bringing in Hogan and Bischoff. And I say that because they could have if they plotted their time out better, they really could have done something better with TNA and competed with WWE. I think had they not rushed into it, and sorry, I had a little issue on a tech end on my end as far as a DJ player. Had they not rushed into it with competing with the WWE, and even if they bided their time until like last year or this year, I think they could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But
like I said with Evan Ginsberg before, I will never understand how they had so much potential and they fucked it up. Like, even if a documentary comes out or whatever the case might be,
there's going to be a rise and fall of TNA.
Oh, there's going to be something out there. While I'm watching it, I won't fucking believe it because they had so much potential. Like, they fucked it up that I would never rag on the talent because the best talent in the world has gone through that. They
should not have let Dixie Carter put her hands in the cookie jar.
At this point, I don't know if it was her fault. Like, who the fuck fucked that company up? Like, I won't understand.
Truthfully, Dixie Carter.
How do you know that? Like, honestly, was it her?
Because she's the Vince McMahon of that company. She's got the final.
She was the face of the Carter family that has money.
But she's also the one who's making the deals, who's putting her, who's trying to run the day-to-day operations of it. The worst thing they did, these are the three worst things. I know I said it like 4 or 5 times now, and we only got a couple minutes left here in the show. One of the worst things they did was pushing Jeff Jarrett out the door. Because Dixie Carter, that's like having...
I agree.
That's like having a coal miner come in...
Who knows how to mine gold?
All right, let me get it one better. That's like having a meat butcher come in and run a basketball team.
Yeah.
Purely based on what they've done with their career so far.
But at the same time,
she's got experience running a company, running Panda Energy and all that stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jarrett was the one that sold his business to Panda Energy. And
well, I mean, if you see where your company's going, I mean, you sell when it's high, not when it's low.
I understand that, but he sold when it was high because he thought these people would make it even higher.
I don't think so.
And that's
I don't think so.
Jeff Jarrett is more than a businessman. He's a fucking wrestling guy, and that's why he's trying to do GFW. I am telling you right now that he expected his contract obligations with Panda Energy and, more importantly, the Carters to put him to the next level. The problem is that when he signed that contract, he relieved a lot of his of his, not command, I don't even know what the fucking word is right now, of his power to them. And I think that's where he really fucked up. He knew that he needed more money, but he didn't expect the amount of power he would let go when he brought in, not fuck Panda, that were a sponsorship. The Carters were his money. That was his bank. But with the Carters and Dixie Carter and the family, they owned his ass. And every decision he made, he had to go to them. And he knew what was right and how to make his business grow, but they were scared to do it the right way. That's what I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got...
Maybe I'm... Go ahead.
No, you're good.
What were you going to say?
I got reading something, and I'll tell you about it after the show. It's absolutely fucking pathetic.
Is it about me?
No.
Okay.
Speaking of pathetic, seeing Amanda with the WWE Divas, Amanda from Tough Enough fame. Yeah.
You said it fucking blows my mind when you say Amanda, because that's my set. You know, my daughter.
I know.
It's 11:08. Another edition of Main Event Madness. I don't know what the fuck else we could talk about.
Well, really quick here, we got about 5 minutes left that we can record. Really quick, it's sad that TNA is calling on former stars, including AJ Styles, to come back to TNA, saying basically, according to report, this is almost a quote, paraphrasing slightly: "We made you big. We helped you. We helped make you big. Now come help us."
What the fuck? Where's that from?
I forget the website, but I swear to you, I read it last night, and I thought I meant to send it to you.
That is. So it might not be Hulk Hogan.
No. I doubt very seriously that AJ is going to go back, but... Did you have a good drink there, buddy? I just heard the gulp.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fucking... I'm drinking fucking gallon of fucking water over here.
I've drank my amount of water today. I'm crashing, though. I'm sorry if I sound too tired on the show.
I'm crashing, too. It's been a long fucking night, so...
Yeah, I want to go to the gym, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's fucking almost 12.
I think I'm going to go for a walk and then do the gym tomorrow.
There you go.
But, so what's coming up this week for you?
Hell on ice. I don't know. I'm trying to bust my ass, make some more money with my job. That's about it. Try to feed the family. And, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm in a weird, September it's a long month. October we get 3 paychecks, so I was just trying to hustle.
There you go. Speaking of hustle,
how about you?
Hopefully I find out in a couple days that I got my second job.
Did you already do everything? I know you had to
Not yet.
They do the background check. Did you do the drug test already or what?
No, they haven't called me. I'm going to call them tomorrow.
I would too.
Hopefully I get it, because then that means I'll have ample amount of money. Actually, the good thing about waiting till February, and I know you hate that I'd be doing that.
Excuse me. Yes, I do hate it, but I know you got to do it.
I'm going to have my car insurance paid off for the year, and I'm going to have if I get this job, I'll have my car paid off.
Okay, so I can't even.
So that's about $300-400 right there. A month off my
and if anything, Monday Night Raw or SmackDown always comes back down to
exactly.
Miami.
And we're gonna hit up some spring training games. I say we hit up one in Tampa and one in Miami.
That's what he says. I fucking want to do that, but hey.
Well, I mean, I'm only saying that because we don't get the option of a regular season.
Look, with the Miami Heat versus the Knicks or whoever the fuck team you like, the Nets, and then the Dolphins versus the Jets. You're a Jets fan, right?
Yeah. I missed that one.
Saying,
I mean, we'll go in the fall, definitely.
Games. What were you saying? I'm sorry?
I said we'll go in the fall. I said it'll be too late in February.
What did they do this spring? In Tampa or Orlando?
Who's that?
Everybody. The fucking Marlins, the Yankees?
The Yankees are in Tampa.
Yeah, I think the Marlins do it up in Tampa, too, for some reason.
You guys were in, I thought you guys just stayed in Miami.
No. I'm like 50%, 65% sure they're up there. Because everybody goes up there. That's why they do that. That way they could play within the other teams.
Gotcha. But
All right, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to your eventual debut as a Florida resident.
143 days, brother. But
And you know what's funny? That's a beeper code. If you Google it, I think it used to be either "I fuck you" or "I love you."
oh, Jesus Christ.
I swear to God, it's one or the other.
And on
So,
that note,
check it out.
guys, this has been Main Event Madness Radio. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, all 45 minutes of it. And have a great rest of your week, weekend, and Lord
Main
willing, we'll
Event
see you back
Madness,
here next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. Main Event Madness Radio. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night, people. Woo!
The preceding broadcast was a Main Event Madness network production. If you missed a part or all of tonight's show, head over to Spreaker.com/show/Main Event Madness for a complete archive. Or tune in Friday nights on blogtalkradio.com/VOC Nation at 6 p.m. Eastern for an encore presentation. Main Event Madness, your wrestling podcast, your wrestling website. Have a good one, everybody. So long.